Summon Sign is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 38 of Summon Sign, Last Stand Media's weekly in-depth game discussion podcast. I'm your host as always, Brad Ellison. Joining me this week, we got Ben Smith. Ben,
hello.
How you doing, man? He's got the hat
Doing
on.
good.
Nice Hurley
It's hat time. It's the hat week. I actually just bought this hat within the last couple of days. I buy all my hats. I don't have that many hats, but I buy my hats at Ross. Do you know Ross?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They're like $10. Yeah. This is like you'd pay like $25-$30 for this hat anywhere else. I buy my hats at Ross because if there's a little stitch missing, it's not the same as if it's like on your shirt, right?
Yeah.
On a hat, it doesn't really matter because I'm also not wearing clothes at all to impress people, so it's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Dude. Also, we got Cog, the man.
What's going on?
The Duke's coming in. Cog, it's good to see you again. It's great seeing you in San Diego.
Yes, likewise. I still have some funny thoughts about the show and just in general and moments that were absolutely hilarious and obviously LSM fan. But it's good to see you, man. Good to see Ben. You know what I mean? Got a chance to hang and build off the scenes, which is always cool. Get a little drink on. Wasn't House of Love on one night. But we had fun. And the food and everything was fantastic.
Cog, are you a hat guy?
Yes, I do. I was a hardcore hat guy. I've kind of like weaned slowly away from it because it's always a part of me. But it was the younger Cog, hat to the back. Now older Cog, hat to the front. I'm in snapback and trucker mode now. That's what I'm in.
I definitely feel like it's a New York thing. It's definitely a big thing in New York, I notice whenever I'm there. Yeah. People love them hats.
Bro.
Yeah.
Fitted cap, different styles. And then what it is like people will try to get these like very exclusive kind of designs and stuff. Like they have stores where they get stitching and special embroidery.
Wow.
It's a thing in New York. Like a hat is, you got your cap. That's a deal. That's a big deal.
Is lids cool. Still big there? Lids?
Hell yes. Oh, yeah. Every mall. Every mall.
The one near me went out of business years ago, but I was also like, well, maybe in Western Pennsylvania, you shouldn't have been charging $50 for a baseball hat. Like maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. New York, I could totally see that being normal.
Yeah. It works in New York for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We definitely funding that company big time.
Hats are pretty big out here. I don't wear hats that much, so I've never been like a hat person, but I do usually wear a hat.
You have beautiful hair, though.
Yeah, his hair. You can't.
Yeah.
Come on. This man, you know what it was on, man, when LSM community comes. So how do you get that level? What products do you? I'm seeing people come up to Brad asking for the science to his hair. It was amazing.
I think it's just because of my past trade being a hairstylist. So that's why I always think that. But I appreciate it. It's very nice of people.
That's what's up. Why never do that? That's what's up.
But that's what I did, Cog, before I was in games. I was like about 3 or 4 years as a hairstylist.
Oh, that's what's up. It makes sense now. Yeah, the boy got swag with it. I like that.
But I do wear a hat usually when I go to the gym, especially when my hair is longer. My hair is shorter than it usually ever is, so I haven't been wearing as much. But I got 2 hats only. I got this Black Sails hat, this show that was on Stars.
Yeah.
One of the actors on it who played Long John Silver, he's an acquaintance of mine. I've hung out with him a couple times. He's a really rad guy. He just gave me this hat, so I was like, hell yeah, I'll wear that. Also, Cog, you might be down with this one. Cyberpunk hat. Oh, I got the samurai logo on there.
Oh, that's tough.
I think I got this at E3, or they either sent it to us or something like that.
Yes.
They were handing them out at E3. For press, I remember.
Yeah, I saw that jacket too.
I had the jacket. I had the jacket. Mm-hmm.
I had the jacket. When I went through, all they were offering was smalls, and I was like, well, I'm taking it, but I ain't gonna wear. I can't wear it. It's not gonna happen.
Same.
Give it to one of your kids, maybe. They all love Johnny Silverhand. Man, I miss Cyberpunk.
I know.
What a game.
Oh yeah,
that was a fucking great game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Before we get in the show, though, please check us out on patreon.com/laststandmedia if you'd like to support us. You can get early access to all of our shows over there, including Defining Duke, our Xbox podcast, where Cog is on, our PlayStation podcast, Sacred Symbols, our Nintendo podcast, Punching Up, everything we got over there, Constellation, all that good stuff. So much stuff. A little too much value. We got a lot of stuff, don't we? A little too much value.
It's a lot of value, bro.
Yes. Also, leave us a nice rating on your podcast service of choice. That includes every show. I want you to leave a nice rating for every show, damn it. Or I'm coming for you. I'm just kidding. But please leave us a nice rating on our podcast service. I was very happy to see 3 of our podcasts in the top 50 gaming podcasts. Very nice. I believe it's Sacred, this one, and I believe the Dukes also. So shout out to everybody supporting us. We greatly appreciate it. And of course, you can get some merch at laststandmedia.store if you'd like to get some merch. We got the Summon Signs shirts. I'm not sure what else is up there right now, but probably Sacred Symbol stuff, some Duke stuff perhaps. Check it out. All right. Quick little question here from Daddy Milk. Hi, Brad, Ben, and Cog. New patron subscriber here. Given that your guys' names come out to BBC, what are your favorite games from England or Europe overall? That's not what we were thinking when we write BBC. No one was thinking that. But as soon as you said England, then we're like, oh, okay. I understand now.
That saved him. That's it.
Yeah, you've been saved. This show keeps getting better. Thank you, gentlemen. Paul from Oregon. All right, boys. Favorite game from England or Europe overall? Lots of games out there. I got one for you already, Cog. You might be into. Let me throw this one out there. Kingdom Come Deliverance. I believe that's European, right?
Good catch. Absolutely. Yeah. Warhorse, man. Absolutely love them. I remember when they were a Kickstarter, and that's kind of one of our first developer interviews that went viral for ILP. And I was like, man, this thing is like realistic Skyrim. You got to eat, you got to drink. Like, it was just, the combat was intense. Yeah, man, I'm pulling for those guys. And obviously, 2 was just announced. Yeah, I love Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yep. Combat was rough at first. I had to get used to that combat. but once I got the hang of it, it was really good. But yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance is one of those for sure. Yeah, man. That's what I've been hearing. I have it. I just need to play it someday. Lockmort bugging me to keep playing it. I would like to play it before 2 comes out, definitely. I don't want to play 2 and just skip 1. That ain't right to me. Ben, what do you got? What do you think? What are some of your favorite games from England or Europe overall?
I mean, there are so many, right? Like, there's so many good developers just in Europe in general. But when you asked the question, I hadn't read it before that. The very first thing that popped into my head was, because of England, was Fable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original Fable. I mean, Fable 2 and 3. Sorry, I like 3. It's a good game. Don't at me. But Fable 1 and 2 are phenomenal. So I'm gonna say I gotta throw it back to Fable. Although, like, the longer I've been sitting here thinking on it, I'm like, from Europe in general, most of my favorite games of all time have been from Europe.
Really?
If I'm thinking about it, I mean, Europe's I don't know if you guys know this. Europe's a pretty big place.
Yes.
There's been a lot of games from there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, my off the cuff answer first thought was Fable.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
Yeah, man. I want to give an honorable shout out before you go, Brad. I'm sorry. I wanted the old Sony Liverpool in Europe. The Wipeout series. Huge fan of that series. I really, that's like old school PlayStation to me. And it was just like the super fast rating tight tracks, and then those techno beats, and it was a vibe. Like Wipeout was a vibe to me. So I still play it from time to time. And one of the was it Wipeout? I believe it's HD or XL. One of the old ones on the PlayStation store stuff that I downloaded. But yeah, I was a huge fan of that.
Yeah, that soundtrack is definitely European 90s vibes for sure.
Yes. What? I was in the club.
Did you guys play the Wipeout when it came to VR?
I played a little bit at a trade show. It was awesome.
I think we played it. I think it was in the press room at PSX.
Yeah.
I played it and I was pretty adjusted to VR at the time. But I was like, I don't think this is so fast. I don't think I can play this because it will just, it's Hurl City, man. Like that's what it, so I didn't try it out, but everybody always when people mention the best VR games, they're always, that one is always in the mix for sure.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. I luckily and thankfully don't get sick really from VR. I think I only got it one time I was playing Skyrim in VR, which was cool. Really cool, by the way. But it was I was going up a stairwell in a spiral stairwell in a castle or something, kind of tower. And as I was doing that, I looked up or something like that when I was moving at the same time. And I was just like, whoop, I got to stop right there for a second. That's a little too much for me. But I'm one of those people that can move freely in VR. I don't have to do the teleport kind of thing.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Very happy about that. But yeah, man, I miss VR. I haven't played a VR game in a long time.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
What a space.
Mm-hmm.
What a space.
I was just thinking because I Power Wash Simulator came out on VR, and I haven't tried it
Oh,
yet.
shit.
And I'm like, I don't know how that's going to be, honestly, but I'm willing to try it out. I think
That's pretty cool, dude.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
I blame Ben for my Power Wash Simulator love. It was him. He was on the future. He mentioned, he's like, you guys got to play it. I'm like, all right, man. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can't believe I'm enjoying this like he said. I mean,
It's just soothing, bro. It's just
it
soothing.
It is. You know what? That game is actually kind of the opposite of soothing for me because I would get so fixated on just getting dirt off, and it would just like kind of stress me out almost like that. I don't know. It was weird. It had like the opposite effect on me. The game is cool and I love it, but also it was like driving me nuts for some reason. I really don't know why.
Well, you missed the spot. You couldn't like get every fine detail.
I think so. Yeah. If I like miss something, you don't got that flash showing you that the area is clear, and I'm just like really zoned in on one spot trying to find it. It's like too much for me, man. But that game is sick, and I love all the crossovers they've done. That's really awesome.
Oh, it's been so good.
They've been having good fun with that stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right, boys. We're in September now. We're getting close to the end of the year. We got some, in my opinion, some great games still coming up. Really great games. I'm excited for a lot of them. I want to just get a check from everybody. What they are the most excited for the rest of the year? Could be a game, expansion, whatever. Just whatever video game thing is getting them hyped up. Ben, I want to start with you this time.
I gotta say, when I think about the rest of the year, it's hard for me to come up with like, oh, this is coming. I'm looking forward to this. But then I look at like a list and I'm like, oh, there's all sorts of games coming out. And especially there's a lot of, or a fair amount of decent like indies that are coming out as well. But I don't think anything takes the place for me over Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even know if it's Indiana Jones, like, or if it's this game. Like, I don't know if I'm excited for this game. I'm excited for Indiana Jones in gaming media, if that makes any sense. Like, I want to I love that world. I love the character. I want to experience that. I hope the game's good. It looks like it's going to be great. And obviously it's coming from a studio and people with tremendous backgrounds, but hopefully it's great. But Indiana Jones has got to be my like one that I'm actually very much looking forward to. Yeah.
Very stoked on that game. Oh, just before someone leaves a comment, I didn't answer my game from England or Europe. What pops in my head is The Witcher 3. I'm not saying it's like the best game in there, but what an impact that game have. And I just have a special place in that game in my heart for that game. Shout out CD Projekt. You're doing better this time. I'm looking forward to see what they're... Just make sure your next game comes out. Make sure it's ready. Just make sure it's ready to go. Because you got the chops. Just make sure it's ready. All right. Sorry. Cog.
Yo.
What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year?
Damn it, Ben.
You can have the same one.
No. But I actually had two. It was indie, as was the top choice.
I had to take the Xbox answer from you, Cog.
For sure. Well, technically not Xbox only.
I'm not playing it on either. I'm playing it on PC.
PC, baby. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, for me, it was it's definitely that. But I have to admit, what's actually most exciting to me short term is the actual Shattered Space Starfield expansion.
Oh, yeah.
I am really excited. They just dropped a developer deep dive today. I didn't get a chance to look at it. It just dropped a couple hours ago. And as a person who, one of the sole defenders of the damn game, I actually enjoyed it and I had fun. I didn't hate it.
That's good.
But, for me, and me and Maddie always talk about this, extensively, is that the actual House Faroon faction and the lore it's associated with that, and we just felt there was so much untapped potential with this ideology that they have going on that's completely separate from the settled systems. And obviously, if you've romanced the Andreja character, it's a very deep storyline within that one character alone. So just to get into that world, and then also, kind of to see what Starfield could do with a centralized location, almost in the vein of a Far Harbor. And instead of, the whole procedural, stuff, let's get back to what Bethesda does. And from what I'm hearing, it's pretty extensive. And then obviously I've been playing a little bit since they've dropped the land vehicles. What is it, the Rev 8 or whatever? It's kind of like a Mako from my Mass Effect kind of a vibe. So I'm super excited. Like, I've been looking for an excuse to get back into this game. And then especially when they drop the 60 frames per second update and stuff like that. So I can't wait, man. I it's really that it's kind of like a new release for me for this game to come out. But, it's, as opposed to just an already expansion.
Well, it'll be probably pretty meaty. I'm guessing it'll be like 10 hours at least, maybe 12. I'm sure it'll be pretty meaty. I only played one DLC from them, and it was a Skyrim one. It was like a vampire one, I believe.
Okay.
It might have been the first one or one of the early ones, but it was cool. I liked it. But from what I've been hearing about this expansion, it sounds more up my alley, kind of what I wanted from the game. So that's great. I hope it turns out really well. I think that game has a lot of potential. I definitely want to revisit it because it's been I haven't played since it came out, so I would like to revisit it. It's nice and patched up, ready to go, probably.
Yes.
Probably in a great state, but who's got the time, man?
So many games, bro.
It's too much shit going on. But yeah, Cog, that game is 2 weeks away from today.
Yes.
Wow, that's coming up
Cog,
close.
do you know if there's any prerequisites to be able to hop into that? Because I have access to it already, but...
That's why I got to watch the deep dive. It just came out today.
Okay.
Because my question is actually a great question because is it going to be a situation where, non-spoiler, that when you end it, there's something that happens, right? And is that a prerequisite to starting it? You know what I mean? Also, I have some questions for the developer. What if you didn't romance Andraja? How does this kick off into getting into that world and stuff like that with House Faroon? So those are fantastic questions. I'm assuming, like I said, the dive just dropped today. I'm going to go as soon as I get off and really, bury myself into that thing and see what's going on.
Hell yeah.
Because if I can play with my character that I left off with, like I finished the game, I spent, 60, 70 hours with it, but then I started a new game plus, and then I was like, okay, I'm done for a little while.
Right.
If I have to start over, probably not. If I can just jump in, I'll check it out. Yeah,
I would assume it would jump in. I would be shocked if it didn't, they had that. But yeah, I'll find out for you.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know if their DLCs are like Elden Ring, where you got to be like at the end of the game necessarily.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Unless there's like a narrative reason or something, I'm not sure. But
yeah.
I don't know. Just for me, quickly, Metaphor Refantasio, definitely my most anticipated for the rest of the year. I'm very excited for Indie though as well.
Yeah.
But I love Atlas. This game was my most anticipated behind Rebirth, so it's coming up. It looks really great. I've been hearing really good things about it from everybody. So yeah, Cog, you're into.
I played
this
it.
One out? Okay,
yeah, I had a chance to play it. Yeah, at what's the Gamescom LA, and that we throw that footage up on Lords of Gaming. It's almost trending, just raw gameplay footage. I was surprised. There was no commentary, no developer interview. People were going crazy, and I believe there was an adventure mode, and then the mode that they let us touch it on side the ship and stuff. And bro, this thing screams Atlas. It screams Persona. Like, it is really amazing. Just the little subtle things moving from the front line to the back line during the fights, and the ability. It really looks good.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Very stoked on it. About a month away, also from now. So. Year's not stopping, man. It ain't stopping.
Oh, yeah.
All right, boys. Last week on Tuesday, we finally learned about the PS5 Pro. We got some details from Mark Cerny, a quick, very brief presentation, 9 minutes, just some very surface level deep dive, I would say, on the thing. We learned a lot about it. Still many questions, though, about it. It's been a bit. We've all got thoughts on it, but I just want to kind of hear where everyone's heads at now with this thing about a week later. How are we all feeling about it? Maybe you still feel the same? Are you in? You out? You're waiting to see? Ben, let's start with you again.
The feelings I have personally are different than the feeling, like for my usage, are different than the feelings I have for like industry, etc.
Right.
So I think, first of all, the PS5 Pro is going to be a good machine. It's going to hopefully run games better. We're still got a little bit of vagueness there about like up to, FPS and everything like that, up to 4K, whatever. So I think it's going to be a solid machine. I think that the presentation didn't really sell it as well as they could have.
Right.
Mark Cerny is a master with words and descriptions and ASMR, but for whatever reason, his presentation just didn't there was nothing there to convince somebody who wasn't already going to buy it, in my opinion.
Right.
So that's a little bit damaging to it. And I think also, you've got all the noise of the console wars and everything over it, which I don't pay attention to. But for me personally, I'm mostly a PC gamer. I'm fortunate enough right now that I have a beast of a PC that I mostly need for work, but I play a lot of games on it too, obviously. And that's where I play most things. Now, obviously, I can't do that with PS5 exclusives. I can with Xbox exclusives, but I can't do that with PS5 exclusives. So, there is that little bit of FOMO there for me. And the reality is that probably ultimately I will end up getting it. I don't know for sure, but the amount of time I've played on my PS5 so far, compared to the amount of time that I've thought this game could look better or run better, is pretty minimal, because most games that are coming out not running as well as they should, or not running as well as I would like, or looking as good, I've played on PC. Now, obviously, you've got instances like Rebirth and stuff like that, yeah, it could have looked better. It could have ran a little better at launch, but I had a great time with it. I spent 110, 120 hours in there. Never complained, never had a negative feeling towards the game because of, I was like, this could have more power. And it never crossed my mind. And I am very much a graphics and performance person. Like I do care about that, but ultimately it's probably not for me, just because of the time I spend on my PlayStation is probably not worth the extra bump.
Right.
At first, when GTA 6, when they announce it and they're like, it's going to be 30 frames, it's not going to be on PC for a while, I'm going to be like, how much the PS5 worth now? Because maybe I can bump up to the Pro. We'll see. But my thoughts as far as industry-wide are pretty forgiving. I think that it's a Pro stands for professional, right? Like a Pro needs a stand included. Sorry. It's $30. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal. Throw it in. It's your most loyal customers.
You could throw it in.
The disk drive, I understand that most people are moving digital. I get that. That's fine. I'm not. So for me, my entire library is already on disk with a very few exceptions. So that would cost me an extra, $80, $90, whatever it is. But it's a Pro. When I buy a MacBook Pro, I've got all my USB ports, and I've got all the different ports that I need for it. That's why I bought a Pro instead of an Air when I bought my MacBook. So I needed all that stuff. And on a Pro console, I feel like it should be there. I'm not saying that it's free to do that. I'm just saying that it seems silly to me that it's not an option, at least.
Right.
But I know what things cost. I know how the world markets are going. I know that they probably put a lot of R&D to it. And I know that probably a little bit of that price tag is padding, because we don't know what the markets are going to do in the future, and they don't want to have to increase it in certain regions again, or in all regions, like they did the base PS5. So I'm okay with it. I think it's an enthusiast machine. That's the thing people are forgetting. It's an enthusiast machine. It costs what it costs. If you want it, you're going to buy it. But it's not for me this time.
Maybe not yet.
Maybe in a year. Maybe in a year.
I said
the same thing about the PS4 Pro, and I think within 6 months I had one. So we'll see. But this is we're talking $900 off the rip for me with having to get a disk drive.
Right.
And for right now, that's just I don't know that I play it enough to justify it for me. Yeah. So that's my very long thoughts condensed.
Yeah. I think we all can agree that they didn't show enough really to win everyone over. Just, it was like a little taste. They gotta have they gotta have something else before the thing comes out, I think. One more thing, I mean, there's the rumors of, the end of the month, some sort of state of play, or TGS is also coming up and Sony's going to be there for the first time in like 5 years, I think. So it could be something. They definitely got to show, I think, a couple games that aren't out yet, new games, to get people really hyped. I think that'll help a lot. GTA, like you guys are all saying, no doubt. That's good. I mean, GTA is going to sell consoles. It's just that is the game to sell consoles to everybody, whether it'll be the Pro or just whatever, Xbox Series X and PS5 in general, though. But Cog, I know you play on Xbox for your console. How are you feeling about this? Just kind of seeing from the sidelines, I guess.
Yeah, this was strange for me because as the techie in me, whenever there's a new hardware, and I'm actually like pro mid-generation refresh. Mm-hmm. So I'm the guy that's like, hey, the new model's out. I'm the enthusiast, right? This is technically for me. But yeah, man, this one did not hit for me. And, it kind of alluded similar to thoughts to what Ben said in the sense that, obviously you get Mark Cerny out there. This guy's a technical wizard, but he's going to ASMR you to death. He's going to talk you to death. And my thing is, I wanted to see proof of concept on 3 levels. I'm not really wowed by them showing me Last of Us and Spider-Man, which are games that already ran at 60 frames per second, and I'm seeing very negligible differences in what they are showing on screen. To me, a missed opportunity was there. It was like, man, you could have hit us with the Bloodborne 60 frames per second, right? If there's any game that needed it, that the community has wanted, it's that. Then the second thing is kind of, again, what Ben said, which is like, I need GTA is such a huge deal. And I felt like this would have been a slam dunk moment if you can associate either the marketing or just performance with that console. Now, granted, Digital Foundry has come out and said because GTA is so CPU intensive, they are very concerned that it won't hit 60 frames per second on the Pro. And it kind of reminds me of a person, obviously I'm a huge Destiny fan. I remember Destiny 2. This is one of the reasons why I betrayed Xbox One for PC, because Ibanez made me get my big rig for, content creation. And he was like, oh, by the way, Destiny 2 is free. And I saw 60 frames for the first time. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm never going back to Xbox One. And I remember when the Scorpio came out, the Xbox One X. So I'm like, all right, this is the Pro version for them. This shit runs Destiny 260. And lo and behold, it was just 4K HDR, 30 frames per second. Yeah. And I was crushed. And it just blew my mind. And the reason I did so much research, I was like, why is this machine should do this? And it's CPU bound, because the Xbox One X still had the Jaguar core from the base Xbox One. And what we're learning with the PS5 Pro, it's still the base CPU from the PlayStation 5. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but if there was a way that they could do 60 frames per second with the PSSR, super sampling, AI driven, if they could do that, that would get me to say, okay, you know what? I'm in. And then, Brad, you made the perfect point, which is the real missed opportunity was like, where was the first party new game that we could say, hey, here's Ghost of Tsushima 2, here's Death Stranding, right? Here is it running on base PS5, but look what you could do with the PS5 Pro. And you really show tangible evidence, right? They did those three things. To me, it was like they had a home run ready. Now, granted, to your point, maybe Tokyo Game Show, maybe it's a rollout for them. And maybe this is just a technical rollout. And then, TGS said where they show more proof of concept with games. But I really thought it was a missed opportunity because I just wasn't excited to talk about 8,000 old games could run. You're not doing it. And then Ben said the ultimate thing, which was, they're kind of in their Apple nickel and diming bag, which is, oh, you don't get a kickstand, and you don't get a drive. It's like, now you added all this, and I get it. Inflation, we understand. The climate is different, and this is one of the few generations I'm old enough to realize that, normally at this stage of generation, things get cheaper, right? And or you keep that, but the base console goes down, right? So what you're showing me is both manufacturers, whatever the scenario is in the climate, are not willing to take losses on hardware. That's where we are. And it kind of sets a precedent. Let's see how the next generation of consoles go as far as price point, or if the portables come out. I'm a ROG Ally guy. Like, that's a $700, machine. And I'm trying to brace the gaming console community. Get ready. This is a different climate. I'm seeing things I've not seen before. So that was my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think easily I could see the next PS6 or Xbox being $700 easily. I think that's just kind of the way we're going. We're getting 3DO territory now, Cog. I'm sure you remember that.
Bro, I remember that Panasonic the real interactive player.
Yeah. It's getting crazy out there. Shit is really expensive. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where we're going with consoles and all this and how expensive things are going to get. Because things are getting more expensive. Cog, like you said, their price drops are kind of a thing of the past, it seems like, in consoles. Like even Nintendo Switch. Still like $300, $349 for the OLED. Still, like, man, the Switch, they ain't dropping that price. I mean, it's selling like hotcakes still, so they ain't dropping that price. Like, I'm expecting the next Nintendo thing to be $500. I'm expecting it. Not saying it will be, but if it's $500, I'm not gonna be surprised. But that's just where we're at now, I guess. It's some of these, like, some of these purchases are just kind of like big. You feel it. You're like, oh, whenever you buy it, like you feel the blows every time, man. I will say I'm already in.
What you got?
I'm already in. I'm already in. Daddy. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I'm in.
Okay.
Once you put that Rebirth on there, I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah, they got you. They got
me immediately. It's over. You fucked me over, PlayStation. I maybe could have lived for a little bit, but you got me right out the gate. So it is what it is. I'm going to sell my PS5 though immediately as soon as I get that sucker though.
Yeah, GameStop giving that good credit for you, like 380 something. I heard.
Yeah, I'll take that. Sure,
that
man.
goes away though as soon as the Pro comes
of course.
out.
I'm not,
Or even the pre-orders, in my opinion.
in my mind, Ben, I'll be happy if I can get $200 for my PS5. I'll be fine with that because I'm not going to use it anymore. Anyways, I don't really know anyone that wants one close to me, so I'll be happy. Just
you could probably get more than that.
Probably could, but that's where I'm at mentally. It's like $200. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
whatever. That'll lessen the blow a little bit for me. But yeah, it's gonna sting buying that thing, no doubt. It's gonna hurt big time, but it is what it is. Games, man. We just love them. We can't help ourselves. We are the enthusiast crowd, so we shall see. I will love to see just if this gets everybody eventually, what it's going to be for most people. I think GTA 5 will be the most, even if it's not 60 frames, Cog, which easily could not be. I still think just knowing that it's the best way to play the game for at least a year, at least, it's going to get a lot of people, but we'll see, man.
Yeah, the fact it's not on PC is huge.
Yeah, that's a huge
console. These will move consoles for sure.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing about, I agree with you about if they'd had like a big thing to show, Cog, and they were able to say like, here's PS5 versus PS5 Pro. I think the problem is they're kind of like in a rock and a hard place because they haven't sold as many PS5s as they want to yet. I mean, they're doing well, don't get me wrong, but like they still want to sell more PS5s, obviously. Yeah. So if you show it off and you're like, our newest console doesn't run it as well as the next newest console, then they're going to lose those sales potentially from the PS5 because they're showing you it's a worse product. So I don't know how they present that in a way that really shows you the better performance. I think they leave that up to like the digital foundries and all the other, groups out there because they know that info is going to get out. But they kind of, I don't know, do they shoot themselves in the foot by saying it doesn't run as well on our newest console or our next to newest console, whatever?
Yeah, it's a good one, right? From a marketing standpoint. I definitely see where you're coming from. I thought it was interesting, with the not giving it the digital foundry initially. I mean, I don't know. I know they did like some type of tech thing, but it's behind a paywall, so I was like, I can't see it. But it is interesting because that's the dilemma, right? You don't want to completely belittle your older product because you still want that to sell. And to your point, a lot of people are still on base PS4s and Xbox Ones. They have not come up because of the so I call it the evil Sinister Six of live service games that are still on the old platforms that people are like, hey, I play Fortnite here, I'm playing whatever Call of Duty here. There's no need for me to, you know what I mean, kind of thing. Yeah. That's why I said GTA is going to be so huge, right? To force people to jump, and get a new hardware, as we saw with me and Colin were talking about with college football, right? It was next gen only. This is an anticipated game, and boom, that kind of drove it. So we'll see what happens. Yeah,
they're gonna have to rip the Band-Aid off eventually. A lot of those games, it's just taking a long time nowadays.
Yeah, but, very strange generation.
Yeah. Man, Cog, we know, though, one day we're going to see that Ghost of Tsushima 2 on there.
Oh, now see, that's how you could have got me. You throw that ghost stuff in there, boy, I'd have donned the mask very quickly. That's how you get me. But it's coming, we know.
Yeah, we see Jin Sakai in there. It's like we're all in. Everybody's in. We're all there. But quickly, Cog, I just want to know, how do you feel about Xbox not doing it? Do you think it's the right move?
Actually, I've surprised myself as a person who always likes mid-gen refreshes. At first I was like, man, maybe that's a mistake. Do they, by them not doing that and let the PS5 Pro be the definitive console place to play games, does that damage them? And there will be some damage when obviously Xbox games play on PlayStation better, right? Like an Indiana Jones and stuff. I'm not going to say it's not, but I just took a page out of Sony's playbook. If you really look at it objectively, last generation, Xbox, you played Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Xbox One X, the best, great. But Sony had God of War, Sony had Spider-Man. At the end of the day, it still comes down to the games. And the way they're positioned, outside of all the rakes they step on, they actually have games. You know what I'm saying? They have Indiana Jones. They have Stalker 2. They have, Fable. And the lineup looks really rich and robust. So I think they'll be fine. They'd have to worry about just putting quality, consistent games together. That's all they need to focus on. All this other stuff and just get their messaging in order, and I think they'll be fine. So I think they're all right. The games are going to be key for them.
Yeah, totally. And if that rumor about them coming out in 2026, that'll be interesting if their console comes out at the end of the 2026.
Yeah.
a year head start could help a lot, but
Absolutely.
I don't know. It did help the 360 a lot, but it's a different landscape now. So you never really know for sure, but
Yeah, true.
could be exciting.
Yeah. I would love for them to decouple from always launching at the same time as PlayStation, because the
Yeah.
PlayStation brand is just so powerful. It's you need to kind of. I don't know if it'll work the same way the 360 would, but at least I would like them to attempt it, or a portable or something out there till they have the market to themselves.
Yeah, that's when they were the most successful, it seemed like.
Yeah.
So, or at least mindshare wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone loved the 360.
Mhm.
Just a quick write-in from Joshua Smith. We talked about this a little, though. Hey, dudes, just wondering how everyone is feeling about the PS5 Pro price. It makes me wonder what the PS6 will cost in 3 to 4 years. Surely the PS6 will be more powerful than the PS5 Pro. I have a bad feeling about this. Yeah, Joshua, I'm expecting $700. No drive either. I think both consoles probably won't have a drive as the base thing. Maybe you can get an attachment, but everything's going digital. That's just the way it is, whether we like it or not. I realized that kind of near the end of the PS4 generation. I was like, oh shit, I better start buying everything digital now, because that's where everything is going. I love the options. I think it's great. I love physical media. I think it's great, but yeah, things are getting expensive. Everything's going digital. But I'm guessing at least, well, not at least, but $700 I'm expecting. If there's $600, great. I doubt it, but we'll see. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so much of it just depends on the world markets and
exactly
and how everything works. But so that's unpredictable. But you got to remember too that like as time goes on, tech gets a little cheaper, like the existing tech. So like by the time the PS6 comes out, maybe with inflation it's more than the PS5 Pro, but theoretically the technology to make the PS5 Pro should be cheaper by then, right? Like the VCR was very expensive, but once the DVD player came out, the VCR was like $20 at Walmart, right? So like, I'm not saying it's gonna be that dramatic, but I don't know that it would be a really hard pitch, even for me, for a new console for everybody to cost more than the enthusiast console that came out 2 or 3 years prior. That'd be a hard sell for me.
Yeah, I get that.
Tough one to predict, man. Yeah, it's again with the markets, and I just the only thing that throws a monkey wrench into the whole situation for me is the fact that it just seems that these manufacturers are not willing to take the loss on hardware anymore.
Yeah.
They don't seem to want to subsidize. They don't want to seem, and it just could be because of the climate or the saturation of the console market, because we do see both of them kind of playing around with PC and mobile and doing other things. So again, we're in uncharted territory to me. I would not be surprised if it goes the way Brad's described, because I mean, obviously not, I would hope not more than the enthusiast machine, but maybe the days of the 500 sweet spot is over. I don't know. This is a strange time we're in.
Yeah. And as far as my understanding about a lot of the tech is that the parts needed for these consoles or whatever are so in demand, like that price of that stuff hasn't really gone down. There's so much competition as far as I'm aware to trying to buy those prices. So we'll just see whatever these manufacturers are releasing, but I don't know. I believe they're trying to do like silicone plants or have that kind of stuff made in America now, or they're trying to start doing that so we don't have to rely on other people as much. So that'd be great if that was a thing by the time we get there, because we all want cheaper electronics. But we'll see. Could be scary times ahead for your wallet. So brace for impact, everybody, because we're getting there. All right, dudes. Let's talk about what we've been playing, actually. Now, the first game we're going to talk about is Space Marine 2. Me and Ben together played through the campaign. We'll talk about that. But Cog, I know you've been playing a little bit, so I want to start with you and get your thoughts on the game so far.
Yeah, so I just started over the weekend, and about maybe 4 or 5 hours in, and I was literally blown away by this thing. I could not believe how much enjoyment. This is like an old throwback Xbox 360 style game with tremendous energy. But I gotta give these guys credit, man. Is it Saber? I believe it's Saber, right? Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing I noticed is this is probably one of the most impressive uses of like horde tech, so to speak. Like you see the skyboxes and you look up in the eye, you see the Tyranids in the air, and you look in the background, you see the hordes. So the sense of pure battlefield, the sense of pure, you are against overwhelming odds. and you are not going to stop them. You are just going to contain them for a little bit and sometimes have to escape. I thought was amazing. You know, as a person who loves the Gears series, the thing that I love about this is my first 40K game ever. I've never played any of the games, don't know any of the lore. And these guys are like the super soldiers. It's like a little bit of Doom, a little bit of Gears, but there's no cover and they want you in the mix.
Yeah.
Like you're getting in there and they do a thing that I really love, which is the execution system in the sense that when you execute, then you can get your shield back, so to speak. And it kind of reminds me of Gears Tactics where it kind of encourages you to do that, to survive in the mix. So stay in it. And I like that play style. So really cool. Obviously the finishes. This is the most brutal, savage, tear somebody apart. And and they're talking that talk. Yes, demon, big all. Like they're talking lordly talk that I like. So I like Titus. They definitely don't like him because of his history. They find it out in the dirt. I ain't where y'all at, so y'all can tell me what's going on. But the dirt, there's clearly some history here because this whole lore about them, it's hilarious to me. I'm like, this man, when the game starts out, you damn near sacrifice your whole stuff, and then he's like penalized for this. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of dope. But look. Game is fire. I do like the fact that, speaking of Maddie, in terms of the operations, which is this whole separate team that's going on at the same time your team's going on. I think that's genius. So you almost have two separate stories. Now, I played the game mostly in single player, and I thought the challenge was really intense. There were parts where I'm like, man, this is it is so much going on. It was like an antenna stage. I had to protect these things off this antenna. I had to do all these things. And look, I think they have something here. As a person who's completely new to the series, you know, the only thing if I had to nitpick, because I'm a Gears guy, I admit, the only I would nitpick is that they made a design decision in terms of, because Gears, like the character models and the faces are like way superior to this. But when you talk about that background, you talk about the enemies on screen, you talk about the sheer volume, I kind of like the decision that they made. So yeah, I'm still going through it. I absolutely love the game. It's definitely my surprise game of the year. I've never had this much fun with it, and I can't wait to play co-op this week because I want to really put that through its paces. That's why I want to hear how the co-op experience is. I spoke to Attic. We were going to try to get it on this week. Now, he's been playing co-op, but he said he did experience glitches here and there with like picking up items and little minor things. And my only two nitpicks with the game too is that from a UI perspective, I'm used to like you press up on the D-pad or the select button and it kind of tells you where the next objective. Sometimes I get lost. I'm like, okay, where are we supposed to go? You know, kind of thing. Sometimes I backtrack by mistake and I'm waiting for that golden cross to let me know, all right, that's where I'm supposed to go, kind of thing. And then the second thing is the guns are okay. I just wish that when you're about to go up to one of those cases to pick one up, it tells you what the gun is. But when you're actually walking around, the guns look very similar. So I'm like, which gun is this again? Until you actually shoot it and stuff like that. Just little minor things. But the game is phenomenal. But I'm dying to hear from y'all because I'm assuming you guys both finished the game or you did campaign co-op. And I would love to get your impressions. But I absolutely love this game so far.
Yeah. Ben, why don't you hear what you got to say? I talked a little bit about this week, so I'll go last.
Sure.
Or last week.
Well, first of all, I'm relatively new to the 40K series as well, or 40K games. Back in college, I started to do the miniatures for like a couple weeks until I realized that, I'm in college and I'm broke and these are $15-20 a piece. I like the painting and everything, but as far as the games, I played the first Space Marine game back when it came out, and then I played the whatever it's called, the updated edition, the anniversary edition, whatever it is. On PC, and it's like 10 years old, but I played it like a month ago or 2 months ago in preparation for this to get through it again. And so that's really the majority of the background I have here. And you're talking about the story a little bit. I really think that Space Marine 2, you don't need to have played Space Marine to enjoy it, but there are some little lore bits that get lost if you don't. It's very minor. You're not going to miss it if you don't, but I would say if you have the opportunity to play the first one, if you already have it in your inventory, then certainly check it out. But anyway, as far as the game goes, you took some of the words right out of my mouth, Cog. It's just pure, brutal fun from, it reminds me a lot of the 2000, 4 to 12 era, where it was just like 6 to 8 hour campaigns, minimal story, but still, the things that are there are meaningful. it's all about the gameplay. It's all about rushing through enemies, crushing their heads, blasting them in the face, moving on. The tech is amazing. The game looks phenomenal. I didn't really catch what you were saying about the character models not being as good, but now in retrospect, looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I didn't notice it because everything else looks so amazing. So the game, it runs. I don't know how it runs on consoles. I played it on PC. Runs flawlessly. I was, never had anything significant of a frame drop. Never had any real performance issues with the matchmaking. With it was Brad, Locke, and I playing, and I think once or twice maybe we had to like stop and restart the lobby, for us. But
we just
for
blame
pretty much,
Locke for that because
we blame Locke. Exactly, yeah. It's easy to blame Locke.
Shout out to
For a game being out, a week, not even a week at that point, I was okay with that, especially because we know how all multiplayer kind of works that way.
Yeah.
The campaign, the co-op campaign, is a lot of fun. I don't know, and I'd be interested to hear how your AI companions work if you're playing an AI. But if you're playing as a single player, if you're playing it in the co-op, one of you is Titus, the lead character, and the other two are his like two companions that run around with them. And it doesn't really matter who is who because you're all just doing the same thing. But the things I really like about the co-op are just that you're able to kind of work together to some extent. Like oftentimes you don't need to because you're being so surrounded by everything that you need to just fend things off. But like you notice that one of your teammates is getting tackled by this monster, and you can take that monster out. There's actually an achievement on Steam, I assume for other consoles as well, for doing so. You can call out things to each other. You can if you're like, hey, I have this gun and you have that gun, and I actually want to try that gun. You can swap them out at the ammo stations and everything. So the co-op pieces of it are fun. It's really just that it's fun to play it with your buddies and destroy monsters together. The thing I do like about the combat is that, as you mentioned, there's not a lot of cover. If you are playing the game, you are pretty much fighting. If there are enemies around, you're in the mix. And they really reward you. So this one thing I was expecting in the first game, you run out of ammo. I felt pretty frequently. Now I played on the most recent time I played it. I did play it on like a slightly higher difficulty. We were playing this on normal, so there's like easy, normal, hard, whatever, extreme, something like that. We were playing it on normal, so I assume that's the way the developers build the game and want you to play. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of ammo. Like I'm very rarely running out of ammo. But the thing that there was very little health. And you brought it up that like when you're doing the melees and you're doing the parries and you're doing the executions, those reward you with like a little health boost. And that's where I think the game gets a little more brutal in that you can shoot to your heart's content. There's ammo everywhere. You're probably not going to have too much difficulty. But if you're not getting in there in their faces and pummeling them, shoving your gun barrel through their mouths, you're probably going to get hurt pretty quickly because there's not a lot. And I like that they force you to play a specific way for this. I don't like it when people are like, there should be options for everybody. No, you play the game the developers make. Okay. That's what if it doesn't work, then they don't sell games and they go out of business. That's the market. That's how it works. And in this case, like they want you to play by getting up close, nitty gritty, covered in blood. That's another thing I noticed, that oftentimes when you do one of those executions, your character's just covered in blood for a little while, which is really cool. So I had a ton of fun with it. I love the fact that it's only, what was it, maybe 7 hours we played, Brad, with the co-op campaign. Maybe it's a little longer, a little shorter, depending on how much you explore and if you're playing a co-op or not. But I had so much fun. And there's some epic moments, and anybody can enjoy them, but I was just like, this is a dude moment right here. Like this is brotherly love, obviously anybody can participate, but there are some real like, this is cool, especially in the last act. There's just some awesome moments that make you feel like, oh yeah, this is a game I'm supposed to play with my buddies.
Quick question. I get the sense that like I'm going to experience some amazing set pieces towards the end. Like,
oh yeah.
I get the sense, you know what I'm saying? Like the way you describe it, I'm like, yeah, I can feel like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So playing this, I played through the first Space Marine like a month ago for the first time, and I enjoyed it. But playing through this game now recently, man, what a leap. Obviously, it's been a long time since the last one, but right away, I just got to say the art direction of this game is really good. Really outstanding. Like especially the environments. I think the environments are so well done, especially like later on, like those huge, like the huge like cathedral buildings that are like,
oh man,
you can't even see the top of them because they're so tall, and just like all the design of like, they really nailed the Warhammer visual style. Like obviously there's many Warhammer games, so they have a lot to take inspiration from, but just being in these environments, I was like in awe often, just looking around. Like I was definitely like when we were fighting stuff, Ben, and shit's flying around or whatever, I was definitely just kind of like looking at stuff sometimes when like Locke's bleeding out or something, and just kind of taking in the spectacle or everything like that. Because it was just beautiful to look at. I think the guns are okay in the game. I wish they felt. I think I'm kind of with Cog, and some of them kind of seemed the same almost. Where I was like, okay, these kind of a little too similar. I wish some felt more distinct. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some very distinct weapons in there. Like there's that like cannon thing that shoots like a big like wave of fire almost, it seemed like, which was really cool.
The Melta or something like that.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I wish there was just a little bit more variety in the campaign, just a tiny bit. There are instances of it in the game, like even though some people might think these parts are annoying, I appreciate the breakup, like the rat part, Ben, where one person has to have a flamethrower and kind of keep the rats away, as like Plague Tale or something like that, almost like that. I really like when games do weird little things like that. There are the jetpack sections with jetpack, of course. Once again,
there were not enough jetpack sections.
Not enough jetpack, but
not enough jetpack sections.
When you got it, it felt great. You're like, yes, we are unkillable. That's how it felt like when you had the jetpack thing. Just boost in the air and slam it down. Awesome stuff. And there's a couple of objectives, like, protect the towers. Like, they're getting swarmed by all the Tyranids or whatever. That stuff's cool. I really love it. Of course, the tech, everyone said, these are the developers that made DayZ, and DayZ kind of had this tech also with zombies stacking up. And it's really cool to see the enemies, like, stack up in real time to, like, get over a wall or something like that. You can throw a grenade when they're doing, they all blow up. It looks great. All that stuff is super fun. Yeah. I think the campaign link is very appropriate for what the game set out to do. I personally think a game could be as long as it needs to be. I don't mind longer campaigns. I'm totally fine with that. But if it's short and I think it's appropriate, I'm totally cool with that as well. And I think it's appropriate here and it works very well. I had a really good time with the campaign. Much to improve over the first game, obviously. Just love being with those boys, that brotherhood. It was great. When they're all together, they're like, brother!
Yeah.
For the Emperor! Heretic! Yelling.
Oh, they talking.
All that good shit. Love all that. Also, I think the melee combat is done very well. How seamless it is, switching between ranged and melee. Works really well, feels really good. The parry, still think is a little off. Something about it doesn't feel as quite what I want it to. Maybe I just need more experience with it. I'm not quite sure yet. But there are different parry times for each weapon you use. So I feel like I can never get a great grasp on all of them yet, because I was learning them. I'm like, okay, when do you do it? But it is, when you get one, when you pull one off, feels really good. Like when they jump at you, for anyone who doesn't know, there's like a little blue flash indicating like parry this enemy. You can do it. And sometimes they like jump from really far away and your character will like grab them and like stab them right and like throw them down. It's all really cool. Awesome stuff.
Break them in half.
Yeah. And the melee weapons are really fun. I liked all of them, actually. I thought they're all really fun. Like the knife was much faster. You can swing really quick. There was the chainsword, of course. Classic Warhammer. Everyone's like, been like, oh, this is like Gears of War. It's like, where do you think Gears of War got that from? Where do you think they got that stuff from?
That's a fact.
So that's really cool, cutting everyone down like that, and it's better at kind of cleaving enemies around you compared to the knife. There's like that thunder sword. You can get like lightning on it, and it can change stances. Like one is more of a thrust, the other one's more of a sweep. And of course, the big hammer, really fun smashing. You hit some guy with that, and they literally explode. That feels good,
man. You got to have an awesome hammer in Warhammer. Like that's just...
you got to. You got to have that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
once I got the Warhammer, I don't think I ever switched back.
Any of the
other melees.
Yeah, you don't get it till like near the end, but like when you get it, you feel good.
Yeah.
But that was the main campaign. We did one round of the multiplayer just to check it out. Seemed all right. There's like classes you can pick from. ones that like specialize in range, or one that's has like a shield and a weapon like that. Nothing special, but it's like it definitely reminds me, and I'm sure many other people, of that 360 era, PS3 era, that multiplayer mode. It's just, it is what it is. You can have goof around on it a couple hours, have fun with your friends. Probably not going to get much crazier. They might add some maps or something down the line, but it's not like going to blow you away. But it's fun. It's fine.
But there's some other modes we didn't play too.
Yeah,
like
there's
other multiplayer.
Yeah,
PvP
we just played
modes,
like a capture point one kind of. We only did one round, but we don't have a ton of experience. There's also the other co-op mode. I think it's co-op only. It's the other squad in the game. I have not done that yet either. I don't think you have either. So we'll definitely have to check it out, because I know there's like a lot of progression in that kind of mode where you unlock stuff and different looks for your Space Marine weapon types, builds. So there's a lot of depth there that we haven't quite checked out yet, but I do want to see it. But I think Space Marine 2 is a great game. I'm really happy to see it doing well. It's selling well. It's awesome. I love hearing all these people getting into Warhammer now. Or experience the first time, like Cog, like you, just been like, yo, what is this? Like, this universe, this is crazy. I love this kind of stuff. So it's been really fun seeing people get into all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Warhammer's a great game. Is it $70 on console, Cog? Do you know?
I believe so.
Okay. It was 60 on PC.
Iron Bank sent it my way. That's not what he paid. I just saw the gift. Hey man, I need that one. I gotta play, man. I gotta play. But yeah, I believe so.
Okay. But it's a quality game. You can have a good time with, like, if you got some friends to play with too, a couple buds, you're gonna have a really good time. You're gonna have a lot of fun. Sounds like the campaign is enjoyable enough though on your own. Even if you don't got someone to play with, you can still have a good time. Like the first one was not co-op, so it makes sense that it'll still be fun. But yeah, if you got a couple friends also, you guys are kind of looking for, like, you're looking fondly back at those glory days of playing Gears of War together and stuff like that. You can get some of those vibes here. So it's an awesome game. Check it out. Let's see. Phil Walker wrote in, "Hey boys, incredible to see you all having a great time with Space Marine 2. As a massive 40k nerd, it's my personal go-to despite many nitpicks. A clunky parry system, inelegant ammo and health replenishment, long loading times, an incredibly deep operations mode where nothing is really explained to the player. Did you know their melee weapons offer different parry types and windows? However, I still had an absolute blast. It never got old mowing through hordes of enemies and watching them brutal execution moves. The final level was pure over-the-top 40k porn. And all the fun multiplies when joining co-op mayhem with friends. I feel like the game is a few quality of life patches away from being a genuine 9 out of 10 experience. My question is, do you see yourself coming back to it as more content is released, or exploring the co-op operations mode deeper for the Emperor Phil?" Well, I definitely want to play more of the game. There's still more we haven't seen. I know they're going to add more content. I don't know how in depth it's going to go. I guess there are going to be some new co-op modes or maps and all that stuff. That's really cool. But quickly, Cog, you haven't finished it yet, but do you think you'll want to check out these other modes?
Absolutely. Like I said, one of the biggest sells when Maddie was describing the game to me on Duke was, again, that co-op operations mode. The thought of another team doing something at the same time, campaign-wise or narratively, while your main character, Titus, is. I thought that was awesome. I want more games to do stuff like that. And then from what you said, I think there is a roadmap, right? They plan on having more content. So I'm like, yeah man, feed this to me. And I think for me, I like that they're having this amount of success, because I want this to push Gears. I really do. I really want this to push Gears into that, because my nitpick with Gears is you got to get your melee combat together. These guys are destroying you in this. Like, it's not even close. Now, Gears may have the more distinct guns and certain things, certain feels a little bit better. But yeah, man, I think this is good that they both exist in this space. So yeah, I'm definitely coming back. I'm definitely going to do the operations mode, and I'm going to do the campaign stuff as well, just to get that whole vibe. I mean, the operations, to get that stuff cooperatively with the homies to see how that goes.
Nice. Ben, what about you? Do you think you'll be checking this out more in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely want to check out the co-op modes, and I know that our buddy Jimmy has also been he's been playing it for over a week still, just playing the co-op modes. It's funny because I am very much like I love PvP, but I feel like I'll check out the PvP a little bit more. That's really the longevity for the game, typically for most games. But in this case, I'm just such a Call of Duty guy it seems like most of the PvP modes are modeled after Call of Duty. I'm like, we already have a Call of Duty. Like, I don't know. So maybe that won't be for me. I'll check it out more and I'll give it a shot. But it's definitely not top priority. But when they come out with new content, yeah, I'll hop back in. This isn't going to be like I'm hopping in every week kind of game for sure. But, you get 2 buddies and have a squad of 3. This is easy to just be like, yeah, what are we playing tonight? Oh, let's just hop in and do some co-op and Space Marine 2. Like, that just seems ideal to me. So at least for a little while, and definitely through the end of the roadmap, I'll keep hopping in.
Yeah, they got, it looks like 4 seasons planned. There's free updates as well as a season pass kind of stuff. But
I think the season pass is only cosmetic too.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused because the first season 2, they're doing Dark Angels, which is Champions Pack, Cosmetic Pack, Weapon Skin Pack. And it looks like the other paid ones are kind of like that as well. But for instance, the free update, that's season 2, which will have a new PvE missions, the lethal difficulty, a new weapon, the Neo Vulcanite pistol, and plus new enemies. So they're adding stuff like that. What it's really cool is that season 4 looks like is the end, which will be next year. They're adding horde mode. So that could be really cool in a game like this.
Mode. Yeah. Love a good horde mode. That's where Gears gets me all the time. It's a good horde mode. Oh man, that's the best.
Yeah. Did you guys play Darktide, either of you? No? Okay. So if you don't know, any listeners out there, Darktide is essentially Left 4 Dead, but 40K. 40K Warhammer. It's the people that made Vermintide, and Vermintide was the fantasy Warhammer. There's 2 separate. There's like fantasy, and then there's sci-fi Warhammer. They got both bases covered. So, this game has made me want to revisit Darktide because I played it when it came out and it was fun, but they've changed it a lot. I think a lot over the years. It's on Xbox, I know as well. Not PlayStation yet, but I think there was like a leak about it coming to PlayStation sometime in the future, but could be fun if you're craving more Warhammer. Let's see. Matthew 2Ts wrote in, "Hey lads, since you've all been playing Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, have any of you guys developed any interest in learning more about the vast, grim, dark universe of 40K or even the tabletop game proper? It's always fun seeing new people introduced to the insanity that is the Imperium of Man. And I'm happy to see this game getting its flowers, getting the flowers it deserves. Death to all Xenos and heretics. Thanks, and have the planet broke before the guard did kind of day." All right. Are you boys going to check out the Warhammer lore now? Are you interested in the universe?
I will say this. I remember obviously knowing nothing about the Warhammer lore, and I remember there was an announcement like Henry Cavill is such a big fan.
Yeah, he is.
He's gonna get in it. I ain't gonna lie now. This definitely had me interested. First of all, I think he can play a good Titus.
Oh yeah,
so I got that going, and I want to see more about the lore, but lore proper. I do want to learn more about this universe. Like you could tell it is very extensive, and Sav calls them affectionately space Nazis.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know they hate Xenos like this. I didn't know. Dude. I'm like, what is going on?
The thing about Warhammer is that everyone is like bad. Everyone is a piece of shit in this universe. There is no like quote unquote really good guy from what I've read. Everyone's just fucking crazy, which is pretty fun in my opinion.
And it's like it feels like a bit of science and religion mixed in a lot of their ethos. I'm just like, it's just a wild thing. And I'm just like, yeah, this is really cool. And shout out to the, I think one of the developers, like I say earlier, also felt some Doom vibes in it. Because I think one of the developers, lead guys, has some Doom experience. But yeah, to Matthew 2Ts, I do want to learn more about this lore. This lore looks very interesting and hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I'm a big lore guy in general. I got into some of the lore back in college, and over the years, unrelated to the games, I'll see like, Warhammer videos pop up on my YouTube feed or something. And like I said, unrelated to the games, they're just, here's the new thing that developed in this new campaign. And I've popped in and checked some of that stuff out, and it always prompts me to go down that rabbit hole of like, I just kind of want to peek into this universe, and I'll hop in and look, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I like follow 7 Wikipedia links, and 2 hours later, I'm totally in a different spot. And then you've not only got like regular Warhammer, you've got 40K, and there's so much. Like if you just went and found like a lore YouTuber, I guarantee for each different like section, they have 60 hours of videos about those different facts. Like there's so much here. So for me, I like to dive in. I like to get my feet wet. I like to understand the basics. But I know myself so well, it will become my life if I let it. So, I like to know a little more. I already know a good bit about the universe, but I don't know if this is going to create a new expedition for me. I've become better in the last couple years. I don't know, about not totally giving myself over to these types of things, or whether it's games I know I get sucked into, or whether it's reading up about stuff and studying things. I've had to be a little better because I'm not going to say it affected my life negatively, but it was a problem. It was a problem for a while.
Nice.
Yeah. So actually, I was into Warhammer kind of like over a decade ago. Some of it, I was more into like I don't know if you guys remember, but there used to be a Warhammer MMO called Age of Reckoning that I played. It was the fantasy Warhammer, so that's more where I started the fantasy realm. And there's like very similar things, like the chaos are in that as well. There's the orcs and all that stuff. But over the years, I have just dipped my toe in every now and then in Warhammer lore, like 40K, and just kind of getting like a feel for it. And man, is it fucking dense how much lore there is in this. There is like, I'm not kidding, there's probably over 600 books for Warhammer 40K lore and all that, or like stories and all that stuff, or something crazy. There's so much out there. It's like a universe that's fleshed out like beyond most things, I would say. It's crazy. And it is really cool. Like I've delved into a lot of it. Shout out to the orcs. Those are by far my favorite Warhammer race. That's what I would play if I played the game. They're just these fuckers that all have like British accents. We all talk like kind of thing. And all they like to do is fight. And that's all they like to do. And they're very crude and everything. And they just like strap rocks to themselves. And so they're fucking awesome. That's who I would play 100% if I play Warhammer.
Oh, yeah.
I never had a 40K figures. I had some of the fantasy figures. I had a couple of them. But then like you, Ben, I was like, oh boy, this can get real dangerous real quick. That's for rich nerds. Those nerds that got all the big monies that working in tech. All those boys.
They do seem to like... piece by piece, they seem to be a little cheaper than they were when I was in college. But as far as a hobby, it ain't cheaper. Like there's more to do now. So, but I like the fantasy stuff, but the 40K figures, if I were going to pick one, that's where I'd be. Yeah.
I feel like 40K is more popular. I hear about 40K just more in general than I do about the other Warhammer. I like both. They're both cool to me, but 40K is definitely really fun.
I think I had a friend who was very, very, very into Warhammer at one point, and he was telling me, I don't know if this is still the case or not, but it was kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when they started doing 40K, it became immediately like way more popular. And so they just decided to divert more resources towards it. Mm-hmm. So they started making more stuff for 40K because it was more popular, and because there was more stuff for it, it became even more popular. So it was kind of like one of those cyclical things. So but they're both cool universe. I mean, they're both cool. Yeah.
I think 40K is probably just a little more unique, I guess, from my understanding. A little different. Oh, Cog, I don't know if you knew about this, but there is a Warhammer TV show with Henry Cavill in the works.
Yes, that's what I was hearing about. Yeah. Those are the rumors, because I don't remember hearing about how much of a fan he is of the series. So this is something like a dream, opportunity. So I better check this out, see what's going on.
Yeah. But man, a lot of the stuff we love, we can thank Warhammer for. Like I think of StarCraft and like Warcraft. That's all based off Warhammer, man. Gears of War, all that good shit. So salute to Warhammer. We love it. It's great to see it thriving. By the way, if you're into Warhammer, there's like 1 million Warhammer games every year to play. There's so many Warhammer video games.
They're very generous with their licensing.
Very generous. There's like a Warhammer game for everything. Like what's the one Locke's gonna want to play? Rogue Trader?
The tactics one. Yeah, Rogue Trader.
Or it's like a CRPG. Yeah, maybe it's a tactics or CRPG game. There's all that kind of stuff. The boomer shooter, what was it? Bolt Gun came out recently.
I have that and haven't played it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, you love boomer shooters. That's right up your alley.
I do love boomer shooters. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that's your thing, man.
It really is.
Yeah. I love that, dude. It's so cool. You definitely are a PC gamer if that's your favorite. But yeah, shout out Warhammer.
I love all games. I'm like, people are like, what kind of games do you like? And I'm like, well, here's some examples, but honestly, like all of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I like pretty much all games. I mean, I don't really play sports games. Not that I have anything against them. I'm just not super into sports or anything like that.
No.
But I can see why people like them. I get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't like Telltale type of games. That's what I don't really like. I don't like the Until Dawns. I don't like the Supermassive games. I know a lot of people love those games. I have Detroit, and I can't do it.
I know guys like that. They like, nah, Cog, I can't do it. And I'm like, I feel you.
I don't mind games. They're not going to be my first choice, but games like Detroit, games like where you have choices and not to use the term choice and consequence, so like where you have the experience that you're having a part in. I'm less hot on like visual novels though.
Okay.
And even though I'm not on those either.
Yeah, I think
about that game As Dusk Falls that came out last year.
Yeah, Cog loves that game.
I love the.
I really like that game, but it's like one of the only ones in the like I click a button genre that I liked at all. Right. So yeah,
and you were the main character.
That's right.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the main character looks like that. I don't care what nobody says. He does. Yes.
But there's a guy who did work at Game Informer until they shut that down. But Alex Van Aken used to do some video stuff with him back in the day. We haven't talked in a long time, but when I saw that trailer at first, I was like, I gotta go tell him. And I went to his Twitter, and there was already like 6 people telling him, like, "You're in this game, dude." Yeah, he really looks like.
He really looks like. Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah. That's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Let's change games completely. We're gonna get the furthest away you could get from Warhammer right now. Astro Bot is out. I talked about it last week. Ben, I know you've been playing it. Cog, you've been playing it. I don't know if this is really your type of jam, so I'm not sure.
It is. Technically it isn't, but because of my history with PlayStation and the fact that there are so many callbacks to classic PlayStation 1 franchises, and that's what I fell in love with PlayStation. Like I was just like, I like this little aggressive, different company that was coming out challenging Nintendo. So I was all on the PS1. But again, I didn't get a chance to play long because I've been reviewing 2 games I can't talk about just right now. But look, for what I experienced, this is just a love letter. This is the ultimate feel good game, even from the first one. You know what I'm saying, Playroom, which I thought was a great way to showcase the hardware. And I remember the song about the GPU and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was like laughing. I was like, this is hilarious. But again, not too much hours in it. But this is platforming in such a cool way. And it's the complete opposite of us talking about Warhammer. But yeah, man, I don't really have nothing too in-depth to say other than that. These type of games, to me, need to exist. I think that PlayStation did a phenomenal job, as Asobi did a phenomenal job really getting all the bots and the secrets and the amount of Easter eggs they pumped into it was just amazing. Like, this is a letter of love. We do need more games like this. And there's some parts that get challenging. You know what I'm saying? It's not an overly difficult game, but there are some parts that do get challenging. And what I do like is the replayability to go back and get every single one. And then I'm trying to stay off social media because people are spoiling certain bots. And I'm like, bro, I didn't know that was in the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, relax. So that's where I'm at with it right now. But I'm curious with you guys. I'm assuming you guys have put in all the hours, all the what's going on with it. But I just think that shout out to Team Asobi with this one. This is, I hope it does well. That's my because I had this conversation with After. Yeah. And I was just like, we had the show, and we were just like, I want this thing to succeed, to show the industry, hey, you don't have to pump everything into live service and, microtransactions and stuff like that. Sometimes these type of games are needed. So salute to that, man. But I'm curious what you guys, now that I'm assuming most of you guys have beat it already at this point, because I will get back to it just as soon as I finish reviewing some stuff. But I'm curious, like, what's your overall thoughts now? Is it the platform of the year? Is it the GOATY? That's what I want to know from you guys. Like, is it that? Or is it, hey, this is great, love it, up there, but maybe not? I'm just curious where that is. That's my conversation for you guys.
Before we get into that, Kyle, I'll just read this. This is from Matt Piscatella. Don't usually talk about weeklies, but wanted to add some context to the UK reporting from last week. Across both physical and digital, Astro Bot ranked second in unit sales in the US for whatever September 7th, behind only NBA 2K25. And Astro Bot DualSense was the best-selling accessory sold week 1. So not a lot of info, but some positive information. Seems like it was only behind NBA 2K25, and of course we know that's a juggernaut.
Yeah, that's a juggernaut. Yeah.
So That's a good sign, at least right now. We'll see how it goes. I hope it does so well.
Yeah.
But to your question earlier, Cog, I think this game is great. I love it. It ain't beating Rebirth for me, though. Ain't nothing beating Rebirth for me.
I need to know from you. Because I know where you at with Rebirth. I was like, so Rebirth
it ain't beating Rebirth.
Okay.
But this game is fucking delightful, Cog. I had such a good time playing through it. I got the platinum for it. I enjoyed it so much. Finding all those bots was super great. I love that. Of course, it does celebrate the PlayStation history. There's some really deep cuts in there. I was very happy to see a lot of those bots.
Oh, yeah.
A couple bots I didn't recognize right away. I was like, I don't know who this is or anything like that. So that was great. A lot of great third-party bots in there, too, not just first-party.
Yeah.
No Square Enix bots, though, which is very annoying. Hopefully, that's DLC or something like that. Hopefully. I don't know.
Get your boys.
You pay up.
Get your boys.
I'll pay it.
Get your boys.
It seems very strange because Square has such a history with PlayStation. Such a history, and there's none in there. And there's a lot of third parties, like a lot of Konami stuff in there, like characters I didn't expect to see in there from third parties. I was like, oh, like Namco guys in there, a bunch of stuff like that. A bunch of COG guys in there for sure. COG, you're gonna like a lot of those bots, so I won't spoil them for you though. But Ben, I know you haven't finished the game yet. You were playing last night though when I was talking to you. How are you feeling about Astro Bot?
I think it's lovely. That's a perfect word for it. Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm on the last. Is it universe or whatever,
Galaxy or whatever it is?
Galaxy? Yeah, I'm on the last one, and then I have some of the secret ones left, and then some of them in like the base. So I think I'm like, I don't know, 200 out of 300 bots, something like that. It feels like I should have more, but anyway, I've been completing everything, like every planet 100% before I move on to the next thing.
Okay.
And then I haven't even looked at the trophies yet. I'm gonna get the platinum, but I just haven't looked at the trophies to see where I'm at because I don't want to accidentally get spoiled on something or change my gameplay because of it. And because it's not like, I'm sure there's no missables, and even if there are, that's fine. I'll go back and do it. But it's just the delight of actually playing through this for me that I need. And just, I want to play it as thoroughly as possible. So I loved whenever they came out with, was it Rescue Mission in the VR? Then there was Playroom. I thought they were both phenomenal. And as soon as they announced this, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in. I don't know that I have a lot to say. Like earlier, I was the boomer shooter guy. Now I'm going to say I'm the platformer guy. Like I just love all games, but I love platformers. The first game I ever remember buying with my own money. That's not the first game I ever played, obviously, but I grew up on platformers through the Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Genesis and everything else. But the first game I ever remember buying with my own money was Crash Bandicoot on PS1 in like 1997. And I've just always loved platformers. I find that some people, you get the, oh, I was about to throw my controller kind of comments and everything like that. And games don't frustrate me in that way. Games frustrate me for other reasons, don't get me wrong. But like, I love the challenge. And not that there's a whole lot of challenge in this game, but the few times I have run into like, oh, I'm dying a lot right here, have just like, I'm excited to try the next run, excited to try the next thing. And just figuring that out and figuring out all the different enemy types and the fact that every new world you go to introduces something a little bit new and there's a different ability for the most part that you're encountering and that you're encountering all this history too. Like I said, I had the PlayStation 1, like 3 or 4 months after it came out, which I never thought as a kid that was going to be able to happen, but my parents made it happen for me. So just growing up with the PlayStation, I've always had a PlayStation console, even when I've had other consoles on top of that, and been in that environment and seen those characters. And it's so cool just to see them paying a little bit of reverence, to it. And even if it's just a framing device for this game, it's a nice gesture at the very least for hardcore fans and for the history, because we've said a lot, like PlayStation hasn't embraced its history enough. Honestly, other than Nintendo, who just, I don't know if they're out of ideas or what, nobody really embraces their history as much as they should have, in my opinion. And just to see that come through has been really nice. And the fact that, they've had to work with other companies to get some of these, like, Crash was originally on the PlayStation. It was a PS exclusive, but like, they don't own it now. So, and that was like on one of the big trailers. I'm not, it's not a secret. I'm not spoiling.
Right. Yeah. Surprise. Crash is in the game.
Yeah. Crash is in the game. Sorry. But like, just the fact that they obviously had to work with, Microsoft, Activision, whatever, to get that. And there's other properties as well in the game that are definitely not PlayStation's. They don't own them. That they were just they put enough love into their history that they were willing to go back and make those licensing deals, or at least handshake deals, to some extent. So I think it's phenomenal. I really love the collectible run around. I mean, the bots are the collectibles. The only thing, Cog, to your question about,
Yes.
I don't know about the only thing, but does this keep it from being GOTY? There's two things for me.
Okay.
And one of them is there's certain times in this game where I'm playing and it looks phenomenal, it looks crisp, everything looks beautiful. And there's other times where I like turn too quickly, and there's just like a little bit of like, not a little bit, a lot of distortion. It feels like sometimes environments like
motion
get
blur?
super blurry. Yeah, it almost feels like motion blur, but it's more like pixelated motion blur.
Huh, that's weird.
And unless my GPU is going on my PlayStation, which it very well could be, and then the PS5 Pro decision will be made for me, I guess. But there's just something there that doesn't seem like it's. And I'm not talking all the time. It's like I notice it every hour I'm playing it. I maybe notice it once for a second. But I've just noticed that a little bit, and I don't like that because this game is so flawless technically otherwise. And then the other thing is just that like there is a story here, right? Like there's a story. There's a framing device, but I care so much about story. I love gameplay, don't get me wrong, but I care about story. For something to ever be my GOTY, it has to also have a great story.
Got you.
This isn't what that game's setting out to do. I'm not going to give it a knock for that. Like the game has accomplished what it set out to do. But that for my personal rankings, which I hate rankings, but for my personal rankings, story factors into them. And this wouldn't take that spot for me.
I have a question for you because this came up on ILP with King, who's a huge fan of the franchise, and he played both the VR games. He made it apparent to me that a couple of the boss battles were, I don't know if the fights were reused in the entirety, but they were kind of repeats because he played both of the VR in complete. So he's knocking points on that. So I'm just curious, like for someone who's played all of them, because I did not play the VR versions of Astro Bot at all. Kind of like, how did you feel about that, or did you encounter anything like that?
I hate the argument that you shouldn't reuse assets in games. Because I think as long as you're not literally just reusing the exact same code and framework and everything, that it's still going to take work. Just because you're using the same character, same mechanics or whatever, I'm okay with that. So I've never been a real stickler for like, please don't reuse those assets. Please don't reuse that idea. I think the bigger thing here is that I don't know. We don't know the sales numbers, right, for the VR one, and presumably everybody who bought a PS5 has it, but that doesn't mean they've all played it. I assume they saw numbers and were like, look, there's plenty of people who are going to buy this game who haven't experienced that. And if they did, they loved it, and then they're going to do it again. So I'm just not a person who's going to knock points ever for reusing something that worked and was good. Now, granted, if the whole entire game was the same and they just added some other things, that'd be different. But we have those every year, and they're called remasters, and we give them Game of the Year awards. So
Cog doesn't, but it's okay. I'm just
I'm just saying the industry at large can't be like, they reused a boss because like we're giving these accolades to all these other games like that came out 15 years ago and they just put a fresh coat of paint on it. I'm sorry, that doesn't count for me. So yeah, it doesn't bother me is the short answer. It doesn't bother me.
Cog, so I just looked at the rescue mission boss. So it is like the same bosses. It's like, think of it like having Bowser in a Mario game. It's Bowser again, but the fight is different. Like the boss fight with the octopus is completely different in Rescue Mission, the VR game, compared to just Astro Bot, the new game. So it's what you do in the boss fight is very different. It is the same boss. It's not the same arena or anything like that, but it's just like a returning villain. That's what a lot of these bosses are. They are returning villains from other games, but the mechanics and what you do in them are all completely separate. Yep. So to me, it's just like them taking more inspiration from Mario. Just like, hey, this Mario guy can fight Bowser 40,000 times. Why can't we do that kind of thing? So that's how I kind of look at it right now. And I think, Cog, just the fact that the boss fights are so good also doesn't bother me at all. Like, these are some of the best 3D platformer boss fights I can personally think of ever. And I love the space as well. So it doesn't really bother me being the same villain again. It's like, whatever to me. It's not a big deal.
Fair enough.
But I could totally see that. What was I going to say? I was really... Everyone knows this, obviously, probably now, but how the DualSense is used in this game They're the masters at it. Once again, they do it the best, pretty much than everyone. They really highlight that controller, really make it sing, where you're like, now, this is a great example of the controller in use, makes it feel completely unique. They use it in really clever ways in gameplay. Like there's a monkey assistant power-up you get early on in the game where he does the climbing kind of thing that's been in old games, but just like turning the DualSense to have him climb, it works really well. And like, I know motion controls are usually like a big like negative for a lot of people, but they use it sparingly and they use it well. I feel like in this game where it's like, oh, that
and
actually
you can
makes
turn it off
sense.
if you choose to.
Yeah, you can if you want to. So it's great they give you the option. I think it works really well. I think this game is super creative, very creative. There's some really fun levels in this game. I'm not going to spoil some of them, especially later on. There's some really good ones. One I liked early on is like the mouse one. You get like this mouse power up and it shrinks you down. You can just do it anywhere in the level and it shrinks you down really small, like a little mouse. And you can run through some areas. Like some areas you can only get through in that little guy. So it's just like really weird ideas like that I really love. Like one of the early ones you get on is the punching boxing gloves. You punch a lot of stuff like that. You can like use that to grab enemies and pull them towards you, like pull some worms out of the ground. Everything is used in really fun ways. One of the other best levels, or a memorable one, is the casino level. You get this power cog that slows down time, essentially. So you have it on your back. You're in this casino, and there's like cars flying really, like flying cars going by really fast, like across the street. You got to slow it down. And you got to run through there where the time's really slow, and that comes involved in a more platforming and all that kind of stuff, just timing stuff. All used really well. I think the pacing of the levels is really good as well. They're not so short where it's just like, oh, that was it. I ran through that. You know, you think of like older Mario games, how fast you could run through some of those levels. You just zip through it. And it's like, no, they got a lot to them, but they don't overstay their welcome like ever. I feel like they always end at a great time. So I think the pacing has been really, really well done. And the game length, I think, is really good. There's some cool secrets to get. There's like incentive to get everything and some cool stuff like that. So I'm happy I did everything. I got to see everything the game threw at me. But yeah, it's a great game. I'm really happy the game is only $60 too, not a $70 full price game. I mean, you can get the collector's edition or deluxe edition, which I did because you get a Bloodborne outfit for that little bot. So I was like,
oh, yeah, I know you had to do that.
Yeah, for that. There's other outfits to get in the game, but for the Bloodborne one, you got to pay up the premium.
Is it the Hunter one?
Yeah. Or can you unlock it?
I unlocked it in like the second world.
Okay, maybe you can just unlock it. Maybe you just get access to it right away then. Because there's quite a few outfits to get. See, maybe you just get it right away.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's still really cool. But yes. I think this game is great too because yes, it relies on PlayStation a lot, but I think mechanically it's deep enough where it doesn't need to in the future if they want to. I feel like it doesn't need to rely on PlayStation if they want going forward. I think it works really well here. It's really well done. And I'm not saying moving away from that is the best idea, but I think mechanically Astro Bot is deep enough and engaging enough where they don't have to rely on that in the future. So this is hopefully the beginning of more Astro Bot to come. I think Astro Bot could be a big property, could be the Little Big Planet that they wanted it to always be. Seems universally praised right now. Hopefully, dude, I'll take Astro Bot kart racing any day if they decide to do that.
Ooh, okay.
You got your little Astro Bot racing kart game, and you got all the other little bots in there, your little Kratos bot. That could be really fun. But this could be the beginning of something great. Hopefully, this is an awesome game because also it is such a small team. I think it's like 90 people or something like that. It took 3 years to make or something very un-PlayStation-like, it feels like.
Yeah.
We're used to that studio spending $250 million on games, taking 5 years or whatever, 6 years for stuff. So I think it's great that this little game exists, and I hope we see more kind of stuff like this from PlayStation. So I think it's a big win for them right now. Because they, well, like all companies, you know, they have their hits and misses. Especially, they had a huge miss, one of the biggest misses ever with Concord. So they are lucky this game came out, so people forgot about Concord at least a bit for a little bit. So well done, Team Asobi.
The other thing I wanted to mention about the levels and stuff, and I won't spoil what they are, but in every world, there's like a level that you play as a PlayStation character, I guess you could say, or like in a PlayStation environment, and you kind of take on their powers or their abilities or whatever, and you're kind of in their environment. Man, those levels, some of those levels, I'm like, this is special, man. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it sounds less dumb, but these are actually like special because they were able to take something iconic and translate it to their game, and that's just perfect.
Yeah, like it reminds me of like Smash Brothers. You know, Smash Brothers is a celebration of Nintendo and a lot of third parties in general. And got your boy Kazuya in there, so that's great. But that kind of reminds me of Astro Bot in that sense. It's just, yeah, it is celebration, but mechanically it's deep enough. Like people like Smash Brothers, not only for the roster. The roster, of course, gets you into fighting games. Rosters are so important for fighting games. We all know that.
Yeah.
But there's enough there to keep you coming back and having it grow so much. Like Smash, huge game. So this is a win for PlayStation. They definitely need a little of that Nintendo energy. You gotta have a little bit of Nintendo energy, I think, in your catalog.
Absolutely.
So that's good to have. Hopefully, I really am hoping Toys for Bob game, whatever they're doing, Cog, hits that kind of thing, because they're great. I think they're an awesome developer. They're really talented. So I would love to see Xbox come out with their either Spyro or Crash Banjo, something. Banjo.
Yeah, we were talking about in the community. There's a lot of opportunity there. They've got IPs. So,
they've got them.
You know, this is a genre that people are going to support. You got to diversify that portfolio. You just can't, everything can't be Dude Bro and Call of Duty.
No, not everything. You gotta have those Dude Bros, but you gotta have a little flavor on the side too.
Exactly.
So yeah, Astro Bot's great. I love it. Definitely not my game of the year. One of my favorite games of the year, but you ain't beating Rebirth. Ain't no one beating Rebirth.
I like that you standing on business. He like that's nice.
It's nice. Ain't no one beating Rebirth yet. Maybe Metaphor will come close, but I doubt it.
What's your goatee, Ben?
So far it's Rebirth. Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. Okay.
Yeah. I don't see anything knocking it out either, honestly.
Yeah.
Not to say I wouldn't be willing for it to, but I don't.
Yeah, not yet. We'll see though. But just for listeners out there, LSM, it seems like there hasn't been a lot of goatee stuff in the past. You guys probably talk about in your shows or anything like that. But at the end of the year, I definitely want to do a goatee episode of Summit Sign where we get everybody's opinions, everyone's list.
Oh, yeah.
Celebrate those games, baby. Jeff Keighley's got his. We'll do our own.
That's right.
All right. We got a write-in from Brian Borlaug. Hey, guys. I have a sort out for the dude who ranted for 5 minutes about parents talking about their kids loving Astro Bot. I've never heard so many words that should have been summarized by "I've never had a woman touch my wiener." I've always wished for someone in my family to want to play games with me for the last 30 years. Now I got both of my kids fighting to share the controller, and it's everything I wanted in gaming buddy. Or it's everything I wanted in a gaming buddy. So sort it out to the dude and stop hating on people. Yeah, there's a write-in last week about this guy.
What was this
talking
about?
shit?
What did I miss?
It was he was annoyed that people were so into Astro Bot and having fun playing with their kids and thinking Playroom was their goatee at that year. I don't know. It was a very funny email, so I read it. But now we got people clapping back, so it's even funnier to me. So people fighting in the comments, I'll make it public, sure.
There you go.
It's fun to me.
Dude, my kids are amped to play this.
Are they? That's awesome.
So they went to the store with me to pick it up after we got back from San Diego. I was like, you guys want to go with me? I'm going to buy a game. And they were like, sure, what is it? And I was like, just come with me. And so I got it. And they were like, oh, it's Astro. Like, they were very excited because they played the one that came with the bundle with the PS5. Yeah, the Playroom. And they were like, can we play? And I was like, all right, listen, kids, I'm playing this first. This game is for me. I'm sorry. I don't care if I'm a 36-year-old man. I'm playing this game first. And then you guys can play it. They're like, can we watch you play it? I was like, no.
Damn!
I'm playing this game. I'm sorry. That's just how. But I'm so excited. They've asked me every day, are you done with it yet? Are you done with it yet? I'm so excited. Yeah.
Give the key back, man. Give the kids a chance to watch, man. Come on.
A little bit of shine on that. I pretty much only play games like late at night after they're in bed. So that's part of why they came. Pretty much. I sometimes play a little bit else, but otherwise I'm spending time with them or working or whatever. But I'm very excited to watch them play it, especially my oldest, because he's really good at platformers. My youngest just has fun. My oldest is good at them. So I'm excited to see it, and I'm going to tell him, like, you have to try to get all the stuff. This isn't just about, because with Mario Wonder, I was so pissed at him because I spent like dude, I spent like probably 30 or 40 hours. I ended up 100%ing Mario Wonder.
Nice.
And he's like, I want to play it. And I was like, okay, well, here, yeah, of course you can play it after that. That's the best part is like when I buy games, my kids also get to experience them. And when they buy games, or get them for their birthdays or whatever, I get to play them. But I'm like, all right, you can play Mario Wonder. And then he finished it in like 8 hours. And I'm like, dude, you didn't do anything. You didn't do any of the challenges. You didn't see anything. You didn't experience it. And so for Astro Bot, I'm going to like make him like I'm not saying you got to get 100%. You got to get 50% of these bots, or you're paying for it. Or so I don't know. I got to make some kind of deal with them here. But that's part of the fun of platformers to me, is all the like the collectathon of it.
Yeah. You should make him get the gold flag on every level before he can move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Platinum.
That's what I'm doing.
Rounded.
That's how I played it.
Yeah.
I didn't make him start with the Atari like I did. Okay.
I love Platinum Ben. You go get them started. No, yeah, that's not finishing. That's not. You just beeline. Get back in there, boy.
I don't care if he platinum. He didn't need to platinum it. Although I think that'd be badass if he did. But he needs to actually experience, not just sprint through the levels. You know, that's not.
I love
soak
it.
it up.
What I want.
I
That's not what I want
it.
for him.
Gotta soak it up. Yeah, gotta train those boys to enjoy those games, not speed through them. That's really funny.
I love it.
All right. This is from DMC. I hope all is well, gents. Sir Brad, as the stand-in punching up host, how do you feel about Astro Bot blatantly ripping off that plump Italian plumber? I feel like it's fine mostly, but certain aspects have caused me to raise an eyebrow. I can't remember if this was addressed last week. I don't really care, honestly. I love Mario. I don't give a shit. Like, if his glide thing is like the water glide from Sunshine, it's like, whatever. You're taking good ideas.
Yeah.
You're taking ideas from the best probably out there. So it's probably a good idea, in my opinion.
Show me a game in the last 2 years that was 100% original and didn't steal anything from anything else.
I mean, they do got some footage of Astro Bot.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
4K with some exact mechanics. I'm just
yeah.
The internet has
100%.
shown me. But again, it doesn't detract. I'm with Ben. Like, does it detract me from saying, "Oh, because this is a terrible game now as a result of it"? No, it doesn't do that for me. But you could clearly see they were influenced by a lot of pop culture and a lot of
of
more
course
popular Mario games. Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're making a 3D platformer, how are you not going to look at Mario?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How are you not going to look at Mario and just be like, okay, well, Mario is like the GOAT. We should learn from Mario.
Mm-hmm.
How arrogant to think you could make something better than that.
I'm not saying Astro Bot's better than Mario or anything like that either. But I know it's like some people get really protective, and it's like,
yes,
relax.
Yes.
There's like 3 Astro Bot. There's like 2 games actually, one little mini game. Mario's got like, how many years has Mario been around? Almost 40 years or something. It's like,
Jesus,
ain't no one touching Mario, okay? You don't got to worry about that plumber.
How many? Yeah, exactly. How many? It's all console war shit. There's nobody who actually has this complaint. Nobody actually has this complaint.
Yeah, it's not like I played.
Outside, man.
It's not like I played Liza P. and I was like, well, Liza P. took a lot of inspiration from software. Clearly, I'm like, well, fuck them. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to take good ideas and make it their own. It's like, it's not replacing from software. They're just learning from the GOAT. That's all.
Call of Duty ripped off Medal of Honor because they have guns where you shoot people.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, whatever. Who gives a shit, really? Is the game fun? That's what really matters to me.
No doubt.
And it's not like he's wearing a Mario hat with just an A on it that's red or something like that, and wearing overalls running around. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
yet.
That's a pretty good idea. Maybe you should take that. A little cheeky idea. But yeah, it's whatever. If people really get upset about that, they just stand down. I don't know what else to say. Just take a breather. Just to stand down. Just relax. It's fine. Ain't no one touching Mario. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He's the GOAT. We all know it. He is the GOAT. All right. This is from a 388-foot man. Damn, that's a huge motherfucker. Hello, sex symbols of LSM. I've started a bit late on Astro Bot. I was just able to secure a physical copy yesterday. I'm enjoying it quite a bit, though I've only just now beat the first boss. My question is, have any of you played Astro Bot Rescue Mission on PSVR? I thought I was going crazy when fighting the first boss of the new Astro Bot. While the mechanics are slightly different, they're very different. It's essentially the same boss fight as in Rescue Mission. I don't want to spoil anything off the chance this gets read. I'm still having a great time, but I am curious if you guys made connection if you played Rescue Mission. Also, want to shout out an underappreciated medium, in my opinion, that is VR. Being in the game is so great. Rescue Mission, as an example, is an incredible game. While third-person games, let alone platformers, aren't the first genre you think of while you think of VR, I personally think it's one of the best platformers available. Whether flat or in VR, I am curious if VR will ever get some love on someone's side. What? Sorry for the long ride in and make it a great day. Hey, I don't shun VR on here. I just don't have a PSVR. I have been on record saying how sick Resident Evil is in VR. What do you want from me? I have championed also Astro Bot Rescue Mission. I reviewed that game when that game came out. That game was fucking awesome. I just don't have a PSVR. I just don't play a lot of it. But VR is sick. Shout out. Half-Life Alyx, incredible game. Stand down. All right, boys. What do you think? What do you think, Ben?
I mean, yeah, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier as far as the mechanics and everything. I will admit, I don't know if I don't know if I finished Rescue Mission because I played it when I first got my PSVR, and at the time I first got my PSVR, I also got like 6 VR games, so I was probably cycling through them. But I do think that I remember that. I mean, I remember that boss from it, so I either saw it or actually got to it. I don't know. I'd probably look at my trophies. I don't know. Anyway, shut up. Like, listen, 388-foot man. I'm a 6-foot man. I'll challenge you any day. No, I'm just kidding. I agree. There can be some complaints, but like Brad said, it's a totally different mechanics and everything. And I love VR. I just, it's not, the PSVR for me was not super convenient. I played a lot of PSVR. I don't have a PSVR 2, and I don't know if anyone does. I have a Quest 2, which I personally love. But it's just one of those things where, like, even though the Quest 2 is so easy to use, I gotta like set up time to do it. I gotta like think about it.
It's a production.
It's a production, and it's easy. Don't get me wrong. This is more of a first world problem. But I love PSVR or VR in general. I just mentioned I'm going to play Power Wash in VR. Come at me.
Yeah.
Get him.
I'm watching side-by-side footage of this gorilla fight from Rescue Mission and Astro Bot, and there is a similarity of knocking out the teeth, but there's a lot more going on in the newer one. Way more complex, way more shit happening. So, like I said,
there we go, copying Mario again. You got to jump on Bowser's head in every game. Every game, you got to jump on Bowser's head.
Uncreative.
Get over it.
Uncreative. But like I said, it's like Bowser showing up in a Mario game. He's the same guy, just has some different mechanics. I don't know. Yeah. Like you said, how many times have I bounced on Bowser's head? More than I can count, probably. But still fun. It always will be. All right. we were pretty spicy on these people, but
I'll go in. We're
just messing around. But stand down. All right, boys. Mm-hmm. It's time for a little more spice. It's time for Sort It Out.
Ooh.
On this segment, we just talk about something that's bothering us in the game industry. Someone, messing up a little bit. They need a little sorting. We got to kind of course correct them a little bit. We want to help them out because they got to fix some stuff. Cog, let's start with you. Is there anything you think that needs sorting out this week?
Yes. Larian Studios come to the front of the congregation. I'm very upset with you. Very upset with you, Larian, and you don't get a lot of smoke, but you're going to get some smoke today. Sort it out. I've been really getting back into my Baldur's Gate 3, and it's my favorite portable game to play now. Like, this is I got my Rock Ally. I start at home, Series X. Then I get on a plane. I fly out to San Diego. I got my whole save with me. I get into the hotel room. Got the laptop. Continuing it. Cross save is beautiful. They had the nerve to drop patch 7 on Steam. Patch 7 introduces all these great new features and endings and all this great stuff. But guess what? It decides to break.
Oh, no.
Cross save. And on top of that, Larian, not only did you drop a patch only for PC, you don't tell console users when they're going to get that patch. So I get back home from San Diego ready to continue my 6 hours of progress that I got further through on the plane. I'm like, I'm going to continue this now on the Series X. I'm like, why is this like a 2-day-old stage on my Xbox Series X? So I'm looking up data. I'm looking up, Reddit boards. I'm deleting cloud save, seeing it can try to resync. Come to find out it's patch 7. So Larian, sort it out. Don't ever drop a patch that is not going to launch on console simultaneously. Now I have to wait. And apparently it could be October. It could be November.
Whoa, really?
on PC with my save data there. So Larry, we got to do that. We got to do better, baby. We got to do better. Yeah, I'm disgusted with this, man. I just want to play on my couch on the OLED, bro, with all my data.
Oh,
yeah, sort it out, Larry students. We can't be doing that.
Yeah, wow, that is brutal, Cog. I did not know like the patch would come out that much later too on consoles. Holy shit, that does suck. Yeah, that's a great sorted out. Well done, Ben. What about you? Anything this week?
Yeah, my sorted out and my keep it up are kind of mixed, and we've talked about a lot of this already. But my keep it up was going to be for Team Asobi, just doing a great job. All 3 games they've put out have been phenomenal, and I've loved them. But my sorted out is also for Team Asobi, maybe for PlayStation a little bit here. And it's more of an encouragement, I think, than a real sorted out, is that maybe they want to keep making Astro Bot forever. Maybe they do, and that's fine. If that's what they want to do, I think that's what they should do. But somebody's got to take the reins off them and say, all right, it's time now to make something else. They've obviously got the chops to make a great platformer. They obviously have the knowledge and the know-how about past PlayStation IP and everything. So let Team Asobi make something that's not Astro Bot. Again, I love Astro Bot. If that's what they want to keep making forever, have at it. But if there's any possibility that they want to make something else and they're not being allowed to do it, do it. Please do it. Just like let them off the chain, let them go do it, because I can just imagine whether it's a new IP or they turn an existing IP into a platformer or they take an old platformer and bring it back in a different way, like they should do it. And hey, if it's not a platformer, that's fine too. But I just want to say sort it out, because a lot of times studios get locked into making one game series forever. And especially, I know their development cycle for this was pretty good, but especially with the development cycles now, just like you could be talking about people's entire careers being 3 games, right? In games sometimes. So just, let's make sure this isn't a straight sorted out. This is let's make sure it's sorted out, because I want to see them be able to do more stuff, to be able to do more games, more styles, more, and they've got so much skill and talent there. It's very apparent. So
yeah. I mean, I love Astro Bot as well, but I would like to see them try something different as well. But if like they want to keep making Astro Bot for their next game, it's like, all right, well, if you want to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I want them to kind of do what they want to do. It's like me with From Software, where it's like, I just want them to make what they want to make, because they've proven to me that they know what they're doing. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe PlayStation would be like, guess what? You're making Astro Bot forever now. Who knows?
That's what I'm fearful of. That's what it's coming from.
Yeah, because you think of Sony Santa Monica as kind of like God of War for a very long time. That's all there's rumors that they're doing something else, but
sure.
Yeah, you don't want to see them maybe do that forever, but you never know. PlayStation kind of is famous for doing like 3 entries in a series, 3 or 4, and then just be like, okay, bye, never doing that again. Even though they maybe should for some things, but.
They're in a new era now, though, because they'll make 3 entries, and if it makes a lot of money, they'll make 4 remasters of it.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
that is damn true.
And make it the flagship game for their new professional console.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are messy today, man. That is all the mess. I love it.
All right, I got 2 sorted outs. I got one for PlayStation and Xbox.
Okay.
Everybody's getting the smoke today a little bit.
Okay, what's going on?
PlayStation, the PS5 Pro event was not nearly what it should have been. You failed in many ways, and I think you're getting a bad reputation, whether it's justified or not. You're not doing a good job at conveying the value of your console when for the price of it, no stand. That feels like a middle finger. It's like, bro, that probably costs you nothing to make. Just throw it in, dude. It's a big FU. And I think it's hard for me to justify the price when we have not played the PS5 Pro. Like $700 is just a fuck ton of money, It is an enthusiast thing, but it's like, maybe when I get my hands on it, I'd be like, oh yeah, $700 makes total sense for what we're getting right now. But right now, you haven't conveyed that well enough to make me feel like, yo, this is a good deal. This is totally worth it. The software is there. I'm doing it because I'm a sucker and they're doing Rebirth. So I'm not saying don't do as I do. Just listen to what I say, though. Don't do what I do, but just be aware. I know I'm not like a great example of it.
It's also your job, Brad.
It is my job, but I'm weak and I would have done it. If I can get better resolution of cloud, I'm doing it. I'm
Yeah.
boosting it. I'm
Talk to him.
cash. So it is what it is. Microsoft. What was it? 650 people, dude, laid off. Damn. From Activision and Blizzard. You're hitting my Blizzard again, man? You're killing my Blizzard. I mean, Blizzard's not what they used to be, but you're cutting so much people, dude. And I know everyone's laying people off right now. It's just the way the industry is, and it's a real bummer, but you hate to see it. 650 more people, dude. Fucking hurts, man. You hate to see it. Especially because the WoW expansion's very good, actually. I've been very pleased with it. I'm like, oh, okay, great, dude. This is a good sign for Blizzard. This is good. So it felt like Blizzard needs good momentum, in my opinion. They need that the public eye. We need to believe in Blizzard kind of thing like that. And WoW going up, stocks going up. But this from Xbox, it hurts. I hate to see it. Also, Cog, I'm really curious about this. How do you feel about this new Xbox, the $600 one? What's that about, dude? What's going on there?
With the 2 tera, that's
2
what
terabyte?
I do. Bro, I said these console manufacturers are not trying to take any L's on subsidizing or cheap. They're getting maximum value, and we're going to increase the price in your region.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, everybody.
What are we doing?
The DualSense going up $5 too. It's like, what's fucking happening, guys?
Yeah, there's definitely some sorted outs there. It is a wild time, bro. Yeah. Which I was like, who's that for, Xbox? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah, and I think just the $5 DualSense thing just annoys me. It's like, come on, guys. Man, like, these things fucking break all the time. It's like, you guys doing this really? Come on.
If you're buying an extra controller, you're most likely a power user. Really? Like, because most people are sticking with the controller that came with the console if they're just a, one big game a year kind of person. If you're buying multiple controllers for a system that doesn't really thrive on split screen or anything like that, you're probably a power user. So just give them the $5. I'm a business guy. I understand dollars and cents, but like there's a lot of dollars and cents that you can't count in customer satisfaction. And that, give me an extra $5 for the controller so you can spend $500 a year on our games is rough for me. That's rough.
I just think it's just a little nickel and diming constantly. That's what it constantly feels like. PSN price going up. Just like fucking slow down for a second. All right. Jesus. Can we not get
I didn't renew my PS Plus.
Ooh. I know. It's like, I was thinking about it. It's like, I don't need it. I mean, cloud saves I do love, and I'm paranoid about my saves. But it's like, maybe when I get the Pro and move everything over, maybe I just get rid of the cloud save. I don't know, for a while. I don't know. Because like, I don't really play the games they give you because I have so much stuff to play already. And I barely play online on my PlayStation. I usually play multiplayer stuff on PC.
Gotcha.
So I don't know, man.
I think this is the second time since they came out with PS Plus that I dropped it. The first time was when I was starting a business, working full time, doing my master's, and had a kid. That was the first time I was like, I don't have time right now. For like 3 months, I didn't have it. And then now I was just like, oh, it's up. Okay, I'm just not renewing it because, of course, next month there's going to be some banger on PS Plus I'm going to want to play, but I'll hop it back in for the cloud saves every 6 months. I'll hop in for a month. And, whatever.
Cloud saves, man. I need them. I'm always so paranoid about data.
Especially y'all PS5 Pro guys.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I'll need it to transfer everything. So
don't make the mistake I did. PS4, bro, I was devastated. I like Platinum, Ghost of Tsushima. So I only get my Platinum. And I'm like, got my PS5. Like, yeah. I'm like, where's my data? And I didn't realize, I thought they automatically did cloud saves. You had to enable it. I lost all my data. I was like devastated. Final Fantasy. Oh my God. It set me back. It made me not play PlayStation for a little bit. I was like, how dare this not be on automatically?
Yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. There's a lot of sort outs on that one, but had a vent for a second. All right. This is from Crapton Bacard. Hey, fellas, can we get it sorted out to Sony for the terrible PS5 Pro reveal? They did a really bad job showing off the graphical improvements and only showed a bunch of first-party games that already look and run great in performance mode on the base PS5. They could have done a better job zooming in and highlighting this increased detail, and they should have shown games that really could use more horsepower in the performance mode, like Alan Wake 2 and Final Fantasy 16. Not including a disk drive is just obnoxious, but whatever. They did show Alan. Well, they showed Alan Wake 2 in there that it's going to get pro support, but they didn't like do a deep dive on it. No 16, which is disappointing. Hopefully that VR or the PSR or whatever the hell it's called will address that kind of stuff. The pisser, yeah.
Solve is doing that.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing the pisser.
I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. But yeah, we talked about it. They could have done better on that. But it was nice to hear Mark Cerny's voice again, I guess.
Yes. Smooth
Always.
ASMR.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. I got another one to add to my playlist.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, your sleep time playlist. All right, this is from David Hutchins. Brad, I have a sorted out for Megan Ellison, owner of Annapurna Interactive. Things must have been bad at Annapurna for the entire staff to quit. Annapurna has brought us some great games over the last several years, from What Remains of Edith Finch, Cocoon, Outer Wilds, Stray, and many others. Maybe sit down and listen to your staff and not just look at the bottom line. We will see how some of the upcoming releases will shake out now. I'm sure the staff has had a long time relationship with the devs, so bringing in a new staff will take time to rebuild some trust. Keep the great shows coming, Brad, and it was great meeting y'all on SD. Thank you, David. Thanks for coming out to the show. Yeah, so Annapurna is in a crisis right now, and I am not aware of the full details. I saw Jason Schreier put out a blog or like a post from Bloomberg kind of detailing, but like everyone from Annapurna essentially resigned. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the details. I haven't looked into it, but it is very concerning when stuff like that happens, when you have like the entire staff resigning. Crazy stuff. I'm sure maybe you'll get into it later with Maddie on the Dukes or something like that. I'm sure Colin will get into it, but yeah, really crazy stuff. Annapurna, yeah, they have put out some great games, so it's very upsetting to see the kind of stuff like that happen. The gaming space, man, is the Wild West. You can get chopped down at any second, so it's brutal there.
Good, man.
I was just gonna say I'm a huge Annapurna fan. On my show, we talk about Annapurna probably every week, like just something from them, and their games that they're publishing and making are phenomenal. Whenever I would see them at like a PAX or an E3 or something like that, they were always awesome and very accommodating. And you know, if you haven't played The Pathless on PS5. That was like the first. I think that was the first game I platinumed on PS5.
Nice.
I love that game. It's so good. But they have so many great games. Yeah, I hope shit gets sorted out because they've always had that eye for the next thing that they should publish, and I hope that doesn't go away. Like they're such a boutique publisher that really appeals to me, and it sucked to see that news. Like you said, we don't know exactly what went on, but I don't think it was above board, whatever it was, for the entire staff to quit. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, I want to look into it. I'm with you, man. They hold a special place for me. Edith Finch is such an amazing game. You know, Cocoon is like this Inception kind of world within the world kind of thing. Beautiful game. Batty makes fun of me, but these are like these artsy fartsy card games that I love, and I've had the same experience with you, man. Like I go to the PAXs, like always their booth is a pleasure. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this one is so strange to me. I'm definitely going to check out that article, Brad. I didn't get a chance to research it yet and see what the hell is going on. The whole staff's quitting. And to your point, it's like, that's what gets me frustrated about the games industry. It's like, it's so volatile. It's like, what is happening right now that we're losing top talent, or talent is like, hey, we've had enough to quit the whole staff. What's happening? So yeah, I'm gonna investigate this, but this is a shame. This is a really, really cool studio.
Yeah. All right. This is from Oliver Johnson. What's up, dudes? I'm a longtime 40K fan and was super hyped to jump into Space Marine 2 on PS5, but the performance mode looks like dog shit. I'm very early in the game, and the frame rate was stable. I know it gets worse later, but for the first time this generation, I switched to quality mode just for the resolution. Speed mode was so blurry that I couldn't connect with the amazing world it's set in. That being said, playing this at 30 FPS is just intolerable. I just replayed the first game on PS3 at 30 FPS and it felt totally fine. The simple level design and fewer enemies on screen didn't make the low frame rate nauseating to look at. So it dawned on me, are games too visually dense these days for 30 FPS to make sense to even target? Does higher detail demand 60 FPS to take in, or am I just accustomed to modern visuals at 60? I get that people don't like the cost of the PS5 Pro, but how the fuck can anyone say we don't need it with a straight face? It was great seeing you guys in San Diego. All right, what do you guys think about this? Do you think games are too visually dense now to deal or to be acceptable in 30 FPS? Or are we just spoiled by 60 FPS this generation?
I think this is the problem. This is another one of those like self-eating snakes where because we have these new consoles that can accommodate so much more, people put so much more in them. And because there's so much more in them, they start to overpower the consoles. So I don't want that to go away. Like I want that to continue being the case that they're making these games as good as they can be. But you know, we got to get a little better with the prioritization of resources and assets and stuff. And I don't know how to fix that because I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer in that way. So I don't fully know what's needed to change it. His comment about the PS5 Pro, I'm sure we do need it for certain games, but I don't know that that's going to fix everything because when you have more power, you're going to take it. Like you're going to, people are going to take the amount of power they think they're being given, and then their game may not be optimized correctly. So just switch to a PC and you'll be fine. You will spend a lot more money though.
Yes,
I understand. That's not a serious comment, by the way. I really do understand the appeal of consoles, but as someone who plays on PC primarily and has for most of my life, I'm like, I get it. It sucks, but there is an alternative if that's something you really value and you have the money to do it. It's not a solution for everybody, but it's a solution.
Yeah.
What about you, Cog?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I agree. I think that I think what it is as gamers, when we hear the buzzwords, a lot of them are marketing terms from a lot of these console manufacturers, and we just assume when we hear flops and we all that it's just everything's going to be able to brute force its way and give us this achievement of 60 frames per second, even 8K and 120 frames, which were what were marketed, right, from both manufacturers from the beginning. And it's clear what I'm seeing with these engines and the complexity of whether it be ray tracing, whether it be UE5 now. Like UE5 is extremely demanding. Obviously, you know, I broke the Avowed news that it might be 30 frames per second, right? And people were losing their mind. Like, how is this possible? And I just think that we have to be realistic with what console offers. At some point, that ease of use, right, and the convenience of just being able to boot up and it's great, but these games have to be really optimized well, and that's also a developer talent too, right? So it's developer talent. We just can't expect things to just be brute force just because you have this power. It's how it's utilized. And to Ben's point, if you truly care for the highest of fidelity, right? If you truly care for the highest of performance, then yeah, it is making PC more appealing, and you're starting to see that. And I don't want to, you know, disregard console because obviously my heart is always with console. I want things to work, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. So there's always going to be a place for it for me under the TV. But yeah, I just think that we have to be realistic with our expectation, expecting, oh, now every game is going to be 4K 60 because they said, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. Now we're starting to get the harsh reality of this generation in general. I feel so.
Yeah, totally. I agree. PC, yeah, I mean, PC gaming is great. As I mostly play on PC nowadays as well, just because most things run better on PC. So, I mean, sometimes you get bad PC ports.
Yeah, not always, but sometimes.
Yeah, with PC, I'm like always a little cautious just because I never know because there's so many variables that can go wrong on PC. Like when something goes wrong on PC, it is the most fucking annoying thing ever because you have to jump through so many hoops. There is like, I think a big value about consoles is you just plug it in, you update it or whatever, and you're good to go. You don't got to worry about nearly as many things. Obviously, you don't get as many benefits, but they're two different beasts. Yeah. PC's great. It is by far the most expensive, but you get what you pay for often. But yeah, I love consoles too. I play them as well all the time. So I don't know. I want both to thrive. I think with this generation in particular, a lot of people have gotten used to 60 frames so much. Like Colin is a perfect example of someone like this who didn't care about frame rate before. He didn't care about 60 FPS at all. But now that guy is obsessed with 60 FPS. So people have gotten a taste for it and they want it. I personally, like a game being 30 FPS is not going to stop me from playing your game.
Right.
Like I prefer if your game's 60 FPS always, but I'll play it if it's a 30 no matter. Like I play Nintendo consoles. Like it's pretty God I get 25 FPS on some of those games. So it's like I love Tears of the Kingdom, but that game does not run great nearly all the time. So ain't enough to stop me, but yes, I want performance.
I think some of this is our fault as gamers too. I don't mean the three of us necessarily, but like
it's our fault. Yeah.
Oliver brings up here, like, are they too visually dense or, whatever. And Maybe, but like we're the people too that this game doesn't have HDR. Trash.
Yeah,
like this game
that's true.
this game isn't running, and there's no ray tracing here. I got to turn ray tracing. Like, so part of it's our fault too, because we do those kinds of things. We say those kind of things. Like, we got to get this in there. It's going to diminish the performance of the game, but that's what the players want, and we'll complain if it's not there. So like, we're as responsible for this as the developers. I think that we're demanding these things, and we're saying, well, I'm not going to play it if it's 30 FPS. But then they put it at 60 FPS, but the game can't run. So I don't.
Yeah, no, it's a good
realistic
point.
expectations.
Yeah, especially in an era where when we get new consoles and we want to see this visual jump. I don't see something that's next generation yet. Well, if you're going to do that, you're going to lose performance. Right? Hellblade. I look at Hellblade's example. Like, they went and pushed all visuals, but then frame rate, other mechanics may have been lost.
Right. And gameplay was lost there too.
Exactly. They made a design decision.
Damn.
They made a combat design decision.
Oh yeah, the design decision. Yeah. Well, it's Starfield. That reminds me of Starfield. They did get 60 FPS, which is great. Also, I assume Avowed will do that probably down the line. I bet they'll patch it in later.
Yeah, my gut feels it. They do it. I felt like if I inside baseball, based on what I asked them the question, they seemed off guard. So I still get the sense that they're still optimizing all the way towards the finish line, and to save themselves from making a definitive statement. Hey, say the baseline 30. We will safe at that point. Surprise them. What's that expression? It's better to delight them later with something with a surprise than over,
I mean, it's good that information got out earlier than closer to launch. If it just came out closer to launch, I think people would be way more upset. But like, a lot of people will probably forget by then, or just be over it. So, I think that game will get 60 FPS sometime. But shout out Avowed. I'll be playing that.
Yep.
All right, boys, it's time for Keep It Up. The exact opposite sorted out. Something we're pleased with in the game industry. Who's doing well right now? Who are we pleased with? Ben, anybody this week for you?
Yeah, like I said before, my Keep It Up and Sorted Out were kind of dual-sided, but I know we have at least one Keep It Up for Astro Bot, so I'll let them have that limelight for that one.
Very nice. All right, Cog, what about you? Anything this week?
Yeah, keep it up on my man Vince Zampella. I'm a huge fan of him and Respawn Entertainment. He's been kind of dark for a while because I think they sent him to kind of do something with the dormant Battlefield franchise, and just some news dropped today in reference to all the things they want to do. They want to go back to classic Battlefield 3 and 4, which he felt are peak 64-player maps, classic Battlefield feel. I feel like in a modern setting, and they feel like they've gone away from that. So I like that stuff. That was around that time, when Battlefield was in that pocket, I had actually betrayed Call of Duty. It was a Battlefield guy for a brief period. So I liked when they were in that pocket. So salute to him, man. I love Respawn. I felt like, in my opinion, they really haven't made a bad game. I love what that team's doing. And to see him now kind of take control of that franchise, even though I want him to get back to Titanfall. But for now, I will deal with him saving Battlefield. So keep it up, Vince Zampella. Definitely a bucket list interview. I've never met him. I would love to talk with him. I'm a huge fan of him since the COD Modern Warfare days with the old Infinity War teams. And to me, that was like peak, COD, when I was like hardcore prestige and doing all that stuff. I used to love those games. I betrayed Halo for COD because of his games. I was like, oh, this is 60 frames. I didn't know what 60 frames was. I just knew that this game played different and fast, and I was just blown away. So salute to him, man. I love what he's doing out here in the games industry.
Yeah, he's a legend. So great work.
Cog, if you ever get that interview, I need you to do something for me.
All right, what's your name?
I need you to whisper 2 words in his ear. Whatever. Just say, "Bad Company."
Ooh,
that's all you got to do for me. That's all you got to do for me.
Classic. Bad Company. Yeah, that's it. You're right. Forgot about Bad Company. That's classic. Absolutely. We could get that brought back too. We'll talk to him.
All right.
Ben, when you said 2 words, immediately in my head, I thought you were going to say Duke Nukem. And I was like, oh, no. Don't waste his time on that.
That doesn't have anything to do. Okay, first of all, you take that back. That's not a waste of anybody's time.
I will not.
Second of all, I would never say that to Vince Zampella. What's he got to do?
Yo, Vince. What you got that Duke Nukem?
Hey, here's a franchise you have no familiarity with, you've never worked on, and it's totally not your style, but maybe.
Make that.
Duke Nukem. Get it going, Vince. That would be an insane timeline if that ever happened. That would be insane. Holy shit. Yeah, just love the Duke Nukem character. Yeah, that'd be wild.
This
Holy
guy
shit.
said it on a podcast once. I thought we'd do it.
Yeah,
problem.
sounds like a good idea.
Talk to 2K, got the license.
Yeah, throw all the resources in the budget there.
Keep it up for me, dude. I don't know. Everyone sucks, so I don't know. I'm just kidding. I guess it would be just Team Asobi because I mean it's pretty much Astro Bot's just relevant right now. It's new. It's great. I love it. They provided me a great experience, so I'm very happy with that team. I'm very happy to see a smaller team. One of the only other Japanese PlayStation teams, them in Polyphony. So it's great to see PlayStation actually having having 2 Japanese teams now doing well. So yeah, good job, Asobi. You're doing great right now. Getting your name out there. I want Asobi to be a big name for PlayStation. Like one of those games where people see the logo, people get excited. That's what I want from that studio. All right. This is from Crisp Eclair. Hi, gentlemen. I wanted to write in and talk about Astro Bot. I love this game. There's so much to this game that makes me feel like I'm a child again. The game brings back a sort of nostalgia for me that I didn't know I would be able to feel again. My dad got me into video games with Ratchet & Clank 1, Jak and Daxter, and Sly Cooper, and this game brought me back. I now have a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old, and my 2-year-old was watching me play through this game on my TV and asked to sit in my lap and tap the controller buttons as I played. She danced to the soundtrack and loved it when I turned it on. This brought back so many memories. Brought so many memories that back flooded with me with happiness. Keep it up, Team Asobi. Keep up this amazing work you did and giving to the community. Your team makes my life literally repeat itself in the best possible way. Anyways, thanks for all you guys do. Love the podcast. Keep it up to you guys. All right. Very nice, wholesome write-in right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, okay. This is from Loom Doom. Hello, Summoners. I would like to give a keep it up to Nintendo and Splatoon 3 dev team. Splatoon 3 this week had its final Splatfest called the Grand Festival. For this, Nintendo created an entirely unique hub that is essentially Burning Man or Lollapalooza and made a brand new stage to play on. All the Splatoon idol groups play in this festival with remixed versions of their songs with massive raves that you can partake in. It's a cool event that is entirely free and just feels like a huge celebration of the series. I think Splatoon has done well with the limited time events because it keeps the fans engaged throughout the lifetime of the game and it gives the game a lot of personality. So keep it up to Nintendo because Splatoon is generally a great series that is a ton of fun. I think the future looks bright for the series. Cheers, boys. Thanks for all the great content. Splatoon, I've played 2 and 3, and it's just one of those games I just can't get into. I think it's a really good game, and I totally get why people like it. I think it's very unique and awesome. But just something about it, I just can't connect with it. It bums me out. It's like Pokemon. I wish I could connect with Pokemon nowadays. Because I loved Red and Blue when I was a kid. I loved those games. But nowadays, I played, what was it? Scarlet and Violet, dude. Woof.
Yeah.
Woof. Especially on a technical aspect. Dude. Good Lord. Terrible. They got to step their game up.
I played a little bit of Splatoon 2. Probably, I don't know, like 30 hours of it probably. But then my oldest was like, my oldest son was like, he wanted to play Splatoon because the box looked cool, and he got really into it. And then Splatoon 3 was coming out, and I was like, hey, did you know they're making another one? He's like, what? And then it was a few years ago, obviously, but I think that was the first game that he like on his own was following like the progression, like wanting to watch new stuff. I remember one time on his Switch. My Switch, I think actually, but on the Switch, it like had an ad or like the new trailer for Splatoon 3, and he like put it down and like ran to the TV. He's like, we watched the new Splatoon trailer. I was like, wait, how did you even know there was one? He's like, I saw it on the Switch, but I don't want to watch it on there. I want to watch it on the big screen. Like it was the first game he like followed along with the development of, and he loves Splatoon 3, and has played a good bit of it. But I think he might have missed this one. I think he might have missed it.
Yeah.
I'm actually weird. I actually like Splatoon in a weird way.
I do too.
Oh, really?
I'm weird. Yeah, it's one of the few Nintendo franchises I'm like, all right, it's just so weird and unique.
It is,
paint controlling of the map and who's get to dominate the area in that way, and then obviously swimming through the area you control, popping back up. And I remember having some fun with I call it the big wallpaper one, that the wide
roller,
the roller. Like I was tearing people up with the roller. So I had fun the 2 times I played it. I just with me with Nintendo again, it was just one of those situations like, man, this game is so cool, why can't we have a proper online infrastructure? Why do I have to take 2 cups and a string and a phone and just as the cops agree, they're not happy with Splatoon. Yeah, it was just one of those things. I just want them for the Super Switch or whatever it is. Let's have proper online infrastructure. Let's have voice messaging. Let's have text messaging. Let's have something in the modern era, Nintendo, to make me look. Do y'all remember when the Splatoon online device came out of how to play it with other people? Do you guys remember?
Oh, this sounds
everything.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I was so disgusted. Bro,
it's bad.
I was like, you guys literally have the tech in the machine to be able to do this, yet you are choosing for this method to play online. I'm like, Nintendo.
Bro, we're talking about Nintendo, who decided 3 years after the console was out to be like, oh, by the way, there's Bluetooth. You can have Bluetooth headphones now.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's not gonna be online with the new Switch. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Why are they about to get it? They need to sort it out. Why are they allowed to continue this behavior?
I don't know.
Because they're Nintendo.
Yeah, they frustrate me so much. I love Nintendo, but they are constantly frustrating to me. They get away with it because they do so much stuff so good, but they're always like 4 steps back on some aspects. Online is a great example. Yeah,
so true.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this name, dude. Okay, I need to give you guys context on this guy, Javin. Apparently, I've been saying his name wrong forever times, and he has little lackeys that come to me and tell me I'm saying it wrong. Someone came to me at this live show.
Yeah,
you got your little snitch boys coming up to me.
Outside snitching on the boy. Okay,
yeah. I got a new sorted out.
Tell your boys to stand down. Yeah,
Javin, what's going on?
But Javin writes good write-ins, so I do like him for that. He has good submissions, even though I can never say any right. But too bad. Well, summoning sirs. A big keep it up to Saber Interactive. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is a delight and definitely harkens back to the vibes of the 360 glory days. My question would be, what other series or spin-off manner of game design could spark similar feelings for other gaming time periods? And how would you like to see them executed? Okay. What other series or specific manner of game design could spark similar feelings of other game time periods? Oh, man. Well, I mean, I guess Astro Bot does remind me of like the Wii era of Mario. It reminds me of Mario Galaxy. I'm sure many people quite a bit. So it does give me that Mario Galaxy vibes. But honestly, a lot of those vibes I love from games, I still get. Like, I love Metroidvania vibes. We get plenty of those games. I don't got to worry about that. I get plenty of platformers still. I mean, I would like more 3D platformers, collectathon 3D platformers. And we get a few, but not as many as I would like. But what about you guys?
I would say for series, now that the news is coming out that we're hearing rumors that the Transformers games might be able to come back from there's the one specifically from High Moon Studios are my absolute favorite because they really pay attention to the lore, and I'm hearing rumblings that those could come back. So yeah, like I like when games like Spider-Man is an example as well. Like when they really pay homage to the IP and truly, it's not like a move. I'm from the era where it's like there was movie tie-in cash grab games.
Yes.
Where there's no love. It's literally the new movie's out. We're just replicating the movie. We don't really care. And you guys are going to buy it because you like the IP. Like that's the era I come from. So when I see games like, again, the Transformers series from High Moon, when I saw, Spider-Man 28, I'm like, wow, this is what I'm talking about. Really quality, attention to detail and really game design that is a love letter and fan service and actually a great game on top of it outside of the IP kind of thing. So that's what I like. I like when IPs are truly respected of really popular franchises and stuff.
Yeah. Anything for you, Ben?
I'm just thinking of like just boomer shooters in general, and it's already happening. Like I have it's so good that there's so many new ones coming out that they're making new ones. We talked about Bolt Gun earlier, which I haven't got a chance to play. There's Turbo Overkill and Ultra Kill and Trepang. Like they're just already making them, and it brings me back to that like being a kid at my computer with Windows 95 on it. just mowing down guys in Duke Nukem 3D and build my own levels and everything, and just so like I don't know if that exactly answers the question, but that's the kind of era that I like long for, I think, in my mind, because it was just a different time. It was like the last moments before I entered into high school and adulthood, or whatever. So it brings back a lot of those memories for sure.
Nice. Hell yeah. All right, Cog, Towerborne. The early access is out. I know you've been excited about this game for a while. This is the developers behind Banner Saga, right? This is their new game. Tell us about it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Stoic, man. I'm a huge Banner Saga fan. That is a different genre of game. It's turn-based and very deep RPG mechanics. And one thing about Banner Saga, like the art direction is just stunning to me. The way the characters are drawn, this thing kind of jumps off the page, kind of deal. And when I was getting into Towerborne, I'm like, all right, I'm putting a ton of hours in a closed beta. They let us get into a really the whole creating your character, which pretty much the game is kind of like almost like an anime style, you know what I mean, in terms of your created character and the way you can make them look. You can make so many things to it, which was really cool. And then as you go on through the game, the thing I noticed is it's 2D action RPG beat 'em up, right? So they go in 3-4 player co-op, 4 distinct classes. I believe one is the Sentinel, which is your traditional sword and shield. They have abilities, and then they also can repel attacks, right? Then they have this guy, which I ended up becoming my favorite. It's called the Pyro class. So basically almost like this melee club, which you can kind of load with fire, and it's do swinging heavy attacks, area control, and then the thing is you can actually do burn over time damage. And then they have a third character who kind of reminds me of the guy from Nintendo's ARMS with the big fists, and he's like this big DPS. He's for the bosses. Like he's slow, but he's deliberate and powerful. And then the fourth one is this really cool dual dagger. What's the kids, the Naruto thing? And it's quick and it's agile, and you know what I'm saying? I'm old, so I don't know this anime stuff, but he looked like that guy, right? So, but it's like almost like this very quick juggling style as well. And the thing that you're going to notice off the gate, like the game is one of the most beautifully drawn art styles. The animation is great. The biomes are great. This is a really pretty game to look at. You have to it really jumps off the page. So the thing that I noticed also, being a Destiny fan, they've got a lot of inspirations here because it's obviously an online co-op, but I wouldn't say like fully live service in the sense that these characters are called aces, and they're like the protectors of the final city, right? And then they have a belfry, which is a tower where that's the main base of operations, and the rest of the world has been kind of taken over. And then you can kind of spread out the world and take territories back almost. And then there's each stage that you do, at the end of the stage, there's actually loot. And what's really cool about the loot is that the loot is transformative from the weapon standpoint and from the armor standpoint. From the weapon standpoint, you beat 'em up combos, but if you get different weapons, instead of like ABA doing something with another weapon, it'll do a completely different playstyle. So picking up weapons has its advantage. Picking up armor has its advantages from people who like games like The Division or, Destiny, where you get something that's plus this towards this ability, or if you get 3 of a certain armor set, legs, arms, and boot, it gives you a whole different set bonus. Like it's just really cool, the in-depth. So it looks like a simple beat 'em up, but there's some loot, there's some Borderlands here, there's a little Destiny. If people like Castle Crashers, this is a little Castle Crashers in this as well as the classic, Streets of Rage and TMNT kind of vibes. So you go back to the tower, you do your missions and stuff like that. There's also some Diablo in it, where when you go to different worlds and stuff, how Diablo, you could change the world level, where you could be like, this, you have to earn it. You have to go to this training thing and beat these certain level amount of bosses and then earn the right to be able to change the level and increase the loot and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of potential here. Again, 4-player co-op. The Steam beta is up now. Xbox community is a little upset that Steve got that early, but speaking to the developer, I got a chance to interview them. The reason being is that they are doing full cross progression, cross save, and they want to have that experience seamless. Also, in a rarity, they kind of told us that they're going to do couch co-op in conjunction with being able to go online together. So I thought that was cool because as much as I give Nintendo crap, I have to give Nintendo, they are the king of the local couch co-op
Mm-hmm.
experience where you don't need online. You play four. I have to give Nintendo that they're the best at that. So it was refreshing to see that. So I think this thing has a lot of potential, man. The key is going to be the updates. If I had to nitpick, my nitpicks right now is the tower is very cool, but it's I just wish things were more centralized as far as the characters, the NPCs that you need to talk to consistently. Also, there is no voice in the game, and that's going to be a detraction for some. It's a lot of text, a lot of reading. Some people ain't going to like that. But, we'll see how it is. We'll see how they go with the updates. I thought that the foundation is strong, and they may have something here. So I'm going to continue to play. They keep adding patches. They keep listening to the feedback from the community. So far, so good. But Towerborne, you're on my radar. I am very impressed with what I played so far. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Dragon's Crown a little bit, which I love Dragon's Crown so much. I love that game. So fantasy kind of beat 'em up with RPG elements.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like there's a narrative in this game, like some cutscenes and stuff like that. How is it so far?
Yeah, they do have cutscenes. Again, if you're a Destiny fan, this story sounds very familiar. Again, the resurrected Guardian, aka Ace. Then they have, like I said, the Belfry, aka the Tower. They also have this little spirit creature, which we could kind of consider a ghost.
Yeah,
it's called the Umbra, right? And he kind of fights alongside with you, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I want to see where they go with it. But what I do like, we see bosses, we see like world events and stuff. I'm curious if they're going to go into Dungeons and Raids. I don't know if that may be like long-term roadmap stuff. I don't know, but they said they have big plans with the game in that respect. But as far as narrative so far, it's your basic Destiny run-of-the-mill. You're the protectors of the city, final, kind of deal.
This world map looks interesting. The character running around. There's like a bunch of little spaces or whatever that are, I guess, zones on the map you can go into.
Yeah, and you can walk freely on that map.
You can walk freely on the map, which is cool. And the map looks nice. Is there I guess there's like a lot of spaces, it looks like. Is there incentive to go into all of these, or is it just kind of like events pop up occasionally on them?
Yeah, there's incentive to go into it. There will be events on it, but the other thing that I forgot to mention is that it has a little bit of a Trek to Yomi thing in the stages, in the sense that it is 2D, but you could go up in the foreground and in the background. The only thing is you can't fight. What's the word? Vertically? You can only fight horizontally. Yeah. So that's the only thing. But it's a weird. I don't know if you guys played Trek to Yomi. I don't know if any of you guys played.
I played a little bit of it. Yeah,
I did. Yeah.
So how like you go into the background and the foreground. Mm-hmm. You could do that in this game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a very strangely designed game, but it looks cool, kind of thing. But to your point, they look like they're going to be doing a lot of stuff with that world map. And again, I don't know if they haven't confirmed yet that they will be doing like events in the sense of a Diablo kind of thing. But there are times when you can look on the map and you can see a hulking boss creature in an area that you have not progressed to yet that you will get. And I did fight a boss encounter in a closed beta, and it was amazing. It was really cool. They had great mechanics. You had to really play together, work together, use your abilities together. So again, the potential is there. It's going to be how much they support it, how much they listen to the community, how much they add, and we'll see. But yeah, so far so good.
Cool. So it's on Steam only right now, but it's going to come to Xbox because the game's not even out yet. It's early access. Mm-hmm. Is it just Xbox for console?
From my understanding, yes, it's going to be game preview. They've kind of been touting it as like a kind of a Game Pass game. I don't know what the future holds, but for right now, looks like Steam and Xbox specifically. Okay.
Oh, the music is composed by Austin Windry.
Oh, music's great. Forgot
That's
about
great.
that.
Yeah,
music is fantastic.
Sounds probably pretty nice. Yeah, it looks cool. I'm curious about it. Cog, keep me posted on this game when it comes out. I like beat 'em ups with like RPG. Like it looks like a version of Dragon's Crown almost to me. So I am curious about it.
Yeah, man.
Ben, do you have any interest in this game? Have you checked it out at all?
When I haven't checked it out or anything, but when I saw it announced, was it the showcase last year or was it just this year? But either way, right? Whatever it was, I was super keyed in on it. I didn't realize it was out in any way yet, so I just went on and added it on my Steam wish list so I can check it out later. But it looks cool, and hearing that it's enjoyable is good.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If you want to check it out on Steam, it's $25.
Oh, okay.
Right now. Okay. So if you're curious about it, very positive reviews so far. Only 278 reviews, but still very positive. So that's a good sign, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely keep an keep an eye on that game, Cog. Looks fun, sounds fun. So
Yeah, man.
hopefully, yeah. All right. Just real briefly, I just want to talk about this game I played called Reynalis. A demo came out for this game. Now, this game is interesting. I've been keeping an eye on this game because the guy who's making it is a big Tetsuya Nomura fan. Big time.
Oh.
You look at this game, the character design looks like Tetsuya Nomura games. He's had interviews with Tetsuya Nomura. He's such a big fan. I believe it has Yoko Shimomura on it doing some of the music, she's famous for Kingdom Hearts music. She did the Street Fighter 2 soundtrack. She's one of the OG goats, in my opinion, for music. But anyways, there was a demo for this game that came out, so I thought I'd check it out. And just to paint a picture of what the game kind of is, it reminds me a lot. I don't know if you guys ever played The World Ends With You. It was originally on DS. It was a Square Enix RPG. And there was Neo The World Ends With You that came out on last gen consoles and stuff like that. But anyways, it's an RPG that takes place in like Tokyo, like modern day Tokyo. And it's like this game also takes place in Tokyo. Definitely reminds me of The World Ends With You in a lot of ways, how it looks. Not necessarily the music in, but right away that got me interested. I was like, okay, I'll check this out, especially because this guy is such a huge fan. And I played the demo, and I think overall it's okay. It's okay. It's definitely a much lower budget RPG, which is totally fine. I have no problem with that. The Switch is the targeted, it's like the main platform of this game, and I read interviews of them saying that, and you can definitely tell when you look at it, like it looks like a Switch game. I played the PS5 demo, but it ran fine, like 60 frames and stuff like that, so that's good. But the game's, there's some interesting things about it. Primarily the combat is strange because in combat, you have this meter that goes down as you're fighting. You have to have this meter to attack guys. It's like magic. You're all wizards in this game or something like that in Tokyo. But anyways, to attack people, you have to have a meter. And when you attack people, your meter goes down. And once it goes down all the way, you cannot attack anyone. You're in a vulnerable state. So you kind of have to either wait around a little bit for your meter to go up, or there's a couple things you can do in combat to get that meter up really quickly. And I think it's an interesting idea, but I think in execution so far, it's the very beginning of the game, the demo, so it's very early in the game. So far, I think it doesn't work super well because you have this meter you attack people with, and it goes down. You can do a couple things to get the meter, like I said, back. And the primarily way to do it is to dodge some attacks at the right time. And I think that's a really cool idea. However, anytime you're about to get hit, there's like this circle that pops up really quick on the main of the screen. And you have to hold down the dodge button to fill it up all the way. And if you release at a certain time, you get a big burst of meter back. But if you mess up on it during any time, you can get hit or you can just dodge. But it really feels like it just grinds everything to a halt really quick, a little too much than I would like. I wish it was more like real time or something, not like a split second of pausing, doing it, then getting into it. Kind of slows down the action for me quite a bit. And I felt myself just kind of waiting around, sometimes just standing there waiting for a guy to attack me, just dodging it. And it's pretty easy to dodge. I think there's some cool parts of those because you can kind of like mix between this attack mode and non-attack mode during combat. You can switch between like L1 and R1. So you can kind of time stuff to get more meter back really fast while doing combos. Because if you get like a big meter and it starts flashing, you unleash your attack form, it does like a slow-mo, so you can get some big damage in. You have a couple moves I had like based to the face buttons, like a triangle move that like shot out a bunch of swords that looked like Noctis from Final Fantasy 15. And of course, the main character is one of the main characters you play as totally looks like Yozora / Noctis from Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 15. Like his outfit looks like Sora's and Yozora's. It's very funny to me. But I played through that. The story is, I guess, there's something there, I guess, in the sense of like you're in this world and there's these people in Tokyo or whatever that are, some are wizards and some are not. And people are hunting down. There's like a government force that are wizards also. Like, so one character, you play as two characters, I think. One is a girl you play as. She's part of like the more police force, I guess. And you play as this other kid. I forgot his name, but he is more on the outside. So they're going to have some showdowns, I guess. There's this interesting mechanic, I guess, in the world where it's like you walk around Tokyo and to get into fights with people, you have to go into your attack form. But when you're in that attack form, it kind of alerts everyone around you in Tokyo. And it's like the wanted system from GTA almost. but it's like all on a smartphone app. Everyone's like talking about you're like trending or whatever on an app. And so when you do this form, everyone starts talking about you. And if you get to a certain level, like level 10 or something like that, like the police force will come and attack you. And they're much stronger than you, I guess. But to get rid of this, you can just run to these safe spots. And it's very goofy. It's just like a little circle sphere that you're safe in. You can just stand there. It's pretty low budget, but it's fine. And like there's some, the character he plays, there's like some story going on with him and his dad in the past. And I traveled to some forest area, like not in Tokyo or something like that. So there's some like fantastical elements like that going on there. Very basic game. It is an NIS game, so it's much more of a low budget game like that. But I think it's okay. I think there could be something there. I'm going to keep my eye on it when it comes out, but I can't see this being a game to get people into the genre. This seems like a game for very hardcore fan base, very small hardcore fan base. I do want to check it out. It's just so much time. It comes out like at the end of the month, and it's like, man, there's so much coming out, man. I don't know if I want to start another huge RPG before Metaphor is around the corner, but it is something I am interested in. I will keep an eye on it, but it seems okay. There is a demo out if you want to check it out. Seems like the first hour of the game, maybe. So if you're curious about it, but just keep in mind, it is a low budget game. It's much lower budget. And I think there's a place for that. Not every game, in my opinion, needs to be crazy high budget, or can be. But just keep that in mind. I think there's something to it, but not nearly enough to get most people in. Maybe if you're a big diehard fan, you'll be interested in it. But for most people, probably not. But yeah, I do want to keep an eye on it. Hopefully I'll get to play more of it someday. Because I always want to root for smaller Japanese role-playing games. Like NIS is like, they always have like a ton of stuff like that. I do like NIS, so
yeah.
Hoping for some good things. Like if I beat that game, let's say in the future, and I thought it was a 7, that'd be a success for me. We got a nice solid 7, dude. That'd be awesome. Right now, it's feeling like a 6 territory, which is fine. It's decent for me, but that ain't enough for most people. So just be aware. But if you're curious,
a bunch of other games to play.
Exactly. There's better stuff to play for sure. But if you're curious, you want to check it out, there's a demo. So just some quick thoughts on that.
Absolutely. I see that circle thing that you were talking about while watching the video I play. Yeah, I see you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, just briefly, the music was nice. I did enjoy the music in the game. And I like the vibe of like running around in the city, and kind of it gave me a nice vibe. And it reminded me of The World Ends With You, which I was a fan of back in the day. So it's cool to kind of keep some of that spirit there. I like the spirit of the game. About the execution, I'm not quite sure, but I like the spirit and the vibe going on so far.
Nice.
All right, boys, let's end the show with some questions. If you want to send a question to this show for anything, any of the segments we've read throughout here, all these write-ins, patreon.com/lastnamemedia. I put up a thread every Saturday calling for submissions over there. So go on and put them in there. We do this for all of our shows on various days. So if you want to run to any of our shows, Patreon is the place to do it. All right, this is from Dr. Strangelove. Hey, sexy summoners. Do you guys replay games often, or do you wait a good chunk of time before revisiting a game? I often take years before replaying a game, as to almost feel like I'm playing it again for the first time. Keep up the great work, fellas, and keep loving Lord Savi.
Dr. Strangelove, we're going to have to put an order of protection on you. You have to protect Sav from you at all costs. He loves Sav. He's hilarious. I love him. Oh, yeah, I'll jump in. For replaying games, it depends. Like there's some games, man, like when I love hard, and I'm just like, man, I'm gonna replay this thing. You know, obviously you guys know how I feel about Path of the Goddess. I'm still doing my new Game Plus on that, and it depends on the game. If I feel like, you know, the hook is still there and there's still enough investment in things that I want to do and just kind of live in that world, there's times I will just stay in it, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, and then to Dr. Strangelove's point, there are other games when you beat it, all right, I'm done. But it does feel refreshing to come back, especially like we were talking about Warhammer. Like I know after I beat it, like new content comes out. All right, I want to see what new stages you add, what's going on. So those ones are the ones I kind of put in that pocket. But yeah, either way, kind of a mix of both.
Yeah. What about you, Ben?
I think for single player games that aren't getting new content, because like Cog said, when there's new content for a game, I'll probably jump back in pretty soon. But for games that are just, single player, you're done with the experience, I definitely don't normally jump right back in. There have been I can't even think of what they are, but I know there have been a few exceptions where I was like, oh, I wasn't really I'm not really a trophy hunter, but like, oh, I'm 4 trophies away from the platinum. I'll just hop in and pick them up or something like that. But that's been very rare. Most of the time, it's like, oh, it's been long enough, and now I'm remembering all the things I loved about that game. Like right now, I'm having to fight off the urge to play Red Dead 2 again so badly. Like I played that game before release. I played one day of the multiplayer when it came out. I didn't really enjoy it, so I didn't stick with it. And then ever since then, I've been like, I want to play that game again. But I know that's 60 hours of my life going to get taken up. And I'm playing it on PC next time I play it. So I'll do it eventually, but it takes a long time for me to jump back into a game. On the other hand, there's things like, BioShock and the sequels. I've played like 6 times since those games have come out. Something like, Minecraft, I probably hop into once a year. Again, that's not like a single player narrative or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, no, I don't just turn it back on and start playing it again. I wait. Once I'm done with it, I'm like, I'm done. And then maybe it'll come back around someday.
Yeah. Replaying games, for me, I like to replay games. It depends on the game, though. Some games I like to have a long gap in between them, but some games I'll replay right away. Like a great example of games I replay right away are always Resident Evil games. Those games are so good on replays, man, because you get the new game plus, you get to carry your items over usually for a new run. And I always want to get that platinum in those games. So I I played Resident Evil 4 remake when it came out like 5 times in a row just because it was so damn good. But some other games I just replayed Ocarina of Time recently. So Ocarina of Time is a game I like to replay like every 2 years or something like that. 2 or 3 years I like to replay it. Final Fantasy 7 is one of them I like to replay. I like to space that one out much longer though. Usually I'll probably play it again before part 3 comes out. But usually I like to give that like 4 years or something like that. Some games I like to come back to definitely more often, like Super Mario World, I could play once a year easily, just because it's not a super long game, especially because you just breeze through that game. But there are definitely games where I'm like really want to replay them, like, craving them. Like Death Stranding was one that I was craving replay, and I replayed through that whole game, and it had been like 4 years or something like that, or 5 years almost since I played that. So I guess it just depends on the game type. Like some RPGs, like I ain't gonna replay Baldur's Gate 3 for a long time because that's a big ass commitment. Something like that. Like I want to replay Cyberpunk probably, but I should wait a couple more years probably. Maybe when their next game starts coming around, I'll probably get a little more excited. But yeah, it really depends because it's annoying because some of the games I want to play are very long commitments. Like Dragon Quest 8 is something I want to replay again, but it's just like that's like 80 hours. So
yeah,
maybe I won't quite yet. But yeah, and I love the feeling of a game when I want to replay it again. Like Elden Ring, I beat Elden Ring. I was like, oh, going again right now, new character build. Let's go right now. I love when games give me that feeling, but not every game needs to give you that feeling. Sometimes the game ends and you're just like,
yeah,
just like take a break, kind of thing like that. So yeah, Doctor Strangelove. I guess it just depends on the game or the vibe, whatever you're feeling, and it does depend what's on the slate coming up. Also, the release slate. Because if there's nothing for you at the time, you can replay some stuff. But for us, we love so much, so it's tough.
Yeah.
It is tough for us.
Bro. Yeah.
All right. This is from Elon Chen. Hi, dudes. This is for everyone, but especially Cog and Brad, who love and can't miss an opportunity to shit on Destiny, respectively. As a Destiny vet who played for 10 years since Alpha and can't be bothered to do the final raid because I started the journey a single guy in undergrad, and I'm now married with 3 kids, I am so glad for games like Astro Bot that respect my time. I see myself never touching another live service until I retire. What are your opinions on the future of the industry for games as a service versus the high-quality single-player games that are selling well, such as Wukong, Astro Bot, etc.? Any thoughts on games like Helldivers, which I do feel respects my time as a gamer and human being? Keep fucking that chicken, boys. Whoa. I'll just say I think there's room for both of these type of games. Some dudes, they got families, but they only want to play one game. They only want to play Destiny or something like that. I've known plenty of people like that, or play maybe 1 or 2 games. Like we all know the people that play Call of Duty and like a sports game all year, and that's about it. And that's all they want to play, and that's totally cool. But I think it's awesome that there's just small or just standalone one and done kind of games like that don't drag on forever. I think there's value in both. But what do you guys think? How do you like the balance? What do you think the future of live service is as well?
I think I agree with you, Brad. There's always going to be room for both. in my opinion. And I think I'm a good example of somebody who plays a lot of both. Like I play a lot of single player games, but I play as much or more live service games, and I'm always hopping in between. And a lot of times, like if I'm playing a single player game through, I'm like, I get to a night where I'm just like, you know what, I kind of need something different, and I hop in with the buddies and goof around and then something live service. So I think maybe not for everybody there's always going to be room for both, but I think for the industry there's always going to be room for both, because like you said, different people want different things. Everybody's at a different, like Elon says you're married and with 3 kids. Well, guess what? Right now there's somebody who's 14 that wants to play Destiny.
Yeah.
And when you're retired, as you mentioned, and you can play live service again, somebody's going to be in your situation, married with 3 kids, and not going to be able to play the live service like they used to. So I just think there's something different for everybody.
Yeah, this idea of respecting your time, to me, it's like, I don't know, are you having fun doing it? Like,
Right.
If you're having fun grinding in Destiny, what does it matter, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like if you're playing a game and you're not enjoying it or whatever, it feels like a chore to you constantly. And there are moments like I felt like that in games, kind of like doing dailies or something like that, where it feels like doing chores. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. As long as you're having fun, I guess it doesn't matter. You can be doing anything and having fun. Like we're having fun cleaning stuff in Power Wash Simulator. So
Yeah,
play what you want to play when you want to play it. Is
Yeah,
exactly. We're all, like you said, man. We're all at different stages of our life, and I remember when I was that guy that would be nothing but all day prestiging in Call of Duty, getting the guns, doing all that stuff. I had the time, I had the resources, and obviously now it's different. But also some games, like from the live service standpoint, are like comfort food in terms of communal hanging with the boys,
Yeah.
right? Hanging with the homies. It's really an excuse to catch up with everybody, and this is something that we do together as a fam kind of thing. But then there's also pockets of people who like, look, I don't want to deal with that. I just want this really single player, engrossing story and narrative. There's a place for both. I think that also, for Elon's point, is that also when people were, I think these companies were trying to catch the live service wave, we're seeing how difficult it is to replicate a thing like a Destiny or a WoW and all these things. It's not easy. And, there's all these other games competing for that same space, right? So I think for people who are worried about the live service thing, the players are going to decide, what's the actual thing that they're going to spend the most time in. And I think that games like Astro Bot, Wukong, and stuff like that, Elden Ring, all that's proven. You could still do that. There's a need for that, and people still want that. So they could both coexist.
Yeah. I don't think single player games are going to be going anywhere. I get like the idea of being annoyed at a live service game because there's so many out there and they all demand your time quite a bit, or they can. So it can feel overwhelming. But single player games aren't going away. I don't hate live service games. I don't play that many, but it's just, it is what it is. Some people really love them, so I'm totally fine with that. But as long as there's still stuff that interests me out there and there continuously is, I'm all good.
Agreed.
All right, this is from Badly Brave. Hey, Summoners, now that heavy hitters like Wukong, Astro Bot, and Conquer have released... we already did this. We did the most anticipated or anything. We got you already, Badly Brave.
We got you.
We got you, dude. All right, this is from Dick Nasty. Oh, geez. Sup, Summon Slits. What's a game that you absolutely love but know the other guests detest? All right, I got one for you guys. You guys probably detest this. Kingdom Hearts. Love the series. One of my favorite series out there in gaming.
I don't detest
Not for
it.
you boys.
Not for me.
The face doesn't say that.
I played the first one and loved it. I just never played the second or third one. But
all right, well,
I don't detest it, Brad.
Sure about that? You've only played the first one.
Ooh.
That's true. I've only played the first one.
Got some homework to do.
Ben, what's the game that you love that you think people detest? I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, neither of you, they're asking specifically for other guests. Like, I can't think of anything I really like that either of you hate. Maybe there's stuff that's not your cup of tea from day to day, but
right. It's hard for me to hate something.
I'm thinking about, like, do either of you like Life is Strange?
I think it's okay.
I love Life is Strange.
The first one I like.
Well, I hate it.
Oh,
so there you go.
We found one.
We found one. Beautiful. What is about Life is Strange that you hate?
It just going back to the earlier thing where I don't think there's a lot of gameplay, and I just find it really cringy. That's kind of what it is for me. I just think it's corny as shit.
That's fair.
But I guess that's the other thing is like I don't really hate a lot of stuff. It's just stuff I choose not to play. You know,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Cog, what do you think though? What do you think is something that you like that we would not be into?
Obviously, Destiny.
I don't hate Destiny. I think Destiny is just a mess in a lot of ways.
I got 1,200 hours in Destiny, but I quit playing it because I had to. But I love Destiny.
Yeah, I don't think Destiny's a bad game.
It's just
there's you got to stick to your live service games, Cog. There's only so many we can play. Destiny is not my first pick. I'll say that.
Yeah, I got you on that. Totally got you on that. I get it.
I think the onboarding's terrible for that game, and most people agree. But
that is true.
But people loved Lightfall, so that's good. How do you feel about that? How their new content's going to be handled, Cog?
Yeah, a lot of questions. I don't know, because they're going away from the expansions, which I do like, because to me those were always the most substantial changes to the sandbox, to the gameplay. Now they're going with what I consider like 2 DLCs a year, which are a little smaller, and then one aspect of it is free. It sounds good. The main thing that I will say is this, that gave me a little hope, was that Destiny is at its best when it tries to be weird and different. And when I like that they said, hey, we're going to be experimenting with like content that will put in like Metrovanias or roguelikes, like completely different genres of stuff in the game. So I'm like, that's exciting. But the key is going to be the execution. You have less staff and, I don't know, especially if the content is supposedly smaller than expansion. So they've got a lot to prove. So we'll see. I like Tyson Green. He's like one of the remaining, OGs from Bungie from back in the day. So he has a sense of the franchise and where it goes. But I am very concerned because outside of the main issue right now is the game has really, for all intents and purposes, still a PvE game that has a PvP component, which is not really getting any love. So the core gameplay, PvE, Gambit, which has been non-existent, they've done nothing, and then PvP, which is now all the resources towards Marathon. So to me, Marathon is more important for them for their overall studio success. And if that doesn't hit, I don't know what's going to happen there.
Big trouble there.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah, I hope Marathon's good.
Right. And I just heard the news today that I think I don't know how true it is. The rumor is that $40, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if in this era of not free to play with an extraction shooter.
They're only saving grace as people know who they are.
True.
They probably have the best chance out of all the teams charging money for it just because of their history. I'm trying to think how much Escape from Tarkov costs or whatever. Well, there's like a lot of weird shit, but if you just wanted to play base Tarkov, I wonder how much it was.
I think it was 40.
Oh,
40, okay.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and if that's their main competition, I think they have a better chance charging for 40 because the expectation is kind of set already. Yeah. With Concord, they were in the hero shooter space, and everyone just thinks of Overwatch, so they had more trouble justifying it, I guess. But I guess we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll see the game and know what's in the game, and the roadmap will be like, okay, yeah, $40 sounds good for that game or whatever. But maybe we'll see and be like, ooh.
The original Overwatch was it 40 or 60?
It was 40 on PC. It was
40. Yeah.
60 on console when it came out.
Yeah, okay.
But that was a while ago. Times have changed.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. Hopefully Marathon's good. We're all keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
All right. Final question here is from Zach Dalton. Hi, Summoners. What's your worst story with save corruption? Mine would be Code Vein. I was almost to the final boss, and then my game crashed as I died to a random enemy. Go to boot it back up, and my save won't load anymore, and I had to start over. Guess I'll never revisit that. Take care and have a great one. Woof. Yeah. I mean, I definitely got one right off the bat. I've talked about this one before.
Which one?
Lords of Shadow 1. Back in the day on PS3, I was playing it. I was at the final boss in the game. The final boss. My game crashed, and my save got corrupted. So I had to replay the whole game, and I did replay the whole game because I love Castlevania, but I was super annoyed at that game. And I always just think back on that. I'm like, what a moment. Just painful.
Hell yeah.
Before cloud saves and all that stuff, dude. Jeez.
That's
the one for me
I
though.
don't wish that on nobody. That's
It's bad news, dude. Did you guys ever accidentally over like save over a file and stuff like that?
I'm pretty good about that. I don't think I've ever What about you, Ben? You've ever like overwritten?
I've only I can't think of an overwrite. I've only got 2 instances of save corruption. One, I was playing Subnautica on PC with a mod, and it was a multiplayer mod, and we played for like 5 or 6 hours, and then we went to boot it back up, and it didn't work right. But that I'll give forgiveness to because it was a mod, and like it probably wasn't their fault anyway. But that's the only thing in the modern era I can think of. But the one I have from way back was during the memory card phase of gaming saves. I used to rent, as a kid, we used to rent Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And I'd get together with my buddy every week on the weekend, and we'd play and play and play and play. And so, we had my save saved to my memory card. I probably spent more on that game renting it than I would have if I had just been able to buy it. But I couldn't buy it at that time. And my mom wasn't going to buy it for me. She'd rent it for me every week, but she wasn't going to buy it for me. So, but one time we went to play the game, and the whole memory card, which had other games on it that I probably didn't care about, other saves on it, but I lost. We were like almost 100% on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Damn.
It was just gone. So we just started it over and just played it again anyway, because that's the kind of game it is. But yeah.
Damn.
That sucks, man.
You guys want to hear something really bad that I'm still ashamed of? I accidentally saved over my friend's data in Final Fantasy X. And I erased his game like 20 hours in.
That's rough, man.
Damn.
Sorry, Steven.
Steven caught one.
Yeah,
man.
sorry, Steven.
How'd that conversation go the next day?
He was annoyed for sure at first, but then he played it again. Luckily, he liked the game a lot, so I was like, well, at least it'll last longer now. You'll get to play it longer.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I haven't had any kind of like too many save corruption issues. My issue was more recent. It was more on the server side. It was Outriders, man.
Oh yeah.
Outriders did me dirty, man. I fell in love with the game. It came out. It was a Game Pass drop. I started getting into it, and I was like, man, this game it doesn't take itself serious, but it's fun, and I'm having a good time. So many hours. I think we're doing expeditions, whatever the hell we were doing. And I remember logging back in, and they were having some type of server side issue. And so many people could not get back to their character. And the funny part about it is not funny at the time, but I can laugh at it now, is not only could not get back to my character, it would load up. It would load my character naked in just boxers. And I would just stay there with my character, and you couldn't move forward. It would give you this corruption there. I'm like, Outriders Square, what is going on, bro? It was so bad. I think I was like everyone else started to get the fix except me. I was the longest running person that the fix didn't work for, to the point that I think Paul Tassi from Forbes reached out to me. And he's like, because I screenshot, I was like, Square, what's up, bro? Like, am I ever gonna get out of my boxes so I can play the game? And then he screenshotted that, and they made a story with it. Square was they're not very happy with me, but I was like, look, I tried, I exhausted every opportunity. My issue, Brad, no one was responding to me. And just give me a time of, hey, look, we're still working on this. We're looking to have a fix at this. Everyone's like, hey, it's fixed. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, that's what drove me crazy. So yeah, their PR wasn't really happy with me.
Yeah, that is annoying. They just kind of ignore you or whatever.
Yeah, because I put it up on socials. I added their support, not one response, to the point where that's when the story picked up and said, hey, can we talk about what you're going through, Cog? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I just want some help. I'm not trying to disrespect them. I just, please help me. Give me a timetable. That's all.
Yeah, it would have been it would have been better if they're just like, we can't figure out what's wrong with your thing. We're sorry. We can't do anything about it. Just to let you know, at least. Yeah. Just move on.
Yeah, not one person, not one tech support, not one community manager reached out. I was like, damn, Square like this?
That's cold.
Me like this. Yeah.
That's cold, dude. Yeah, that would annoy the hell out of me. All right, boys. That's it. We're done. A nice brief episode, I guess. Not brief, I would say efficient episode.
Efficient.
I like that, efficient. Yeah, I think it was a great episode, though. Lots of fun talking there. Thank you for joining me, guys. We had to record this a little late. I had something I did this morning, but I'm glad, or thank you guys for commenting for me. I appreciate that. Before we go, though, guys, is there anything you want to say, or should we just get out of here?
Fun times, man. Like this group. Good to see Ben. It's been a while since we parted, so that's also good. Also, Brad, always a pleasure, man. Summoned to the summon sign, so it's good to get back in the mix.
That's right.
I just always like talking about video games, so I always like being on here. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, same, dude. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for listening, watching, hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And until next episode, we'll see you then. Have a good one, everybody. Goodbye. Summon Sign is a product of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and hosted by me, Brad Ellis. The show is produced by Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Summon Sign, along with the rest of Last Stand's media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we are grateful for your kind contribution and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.